Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey!
Here we
It's game
go.
week!
Yes.
It's game week! It's game
Let's go.
week! Let's go!
Let's go.
Fox.
I'm here.
It took 2 years plus to finally happen, but welcome.
And here we are.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah.
You did the show yesterday.
I did.
Feel
I did.
normal?
Felt like I've been here for 2 years.
You've been sitting next to this guy for longer than that.
That's true.
This is a long time.
Yeah, it's been a long
We
time.
did 11 together on radio.
11 years.
Wow.
And now 2 years off and then back together again.
This-
Fans were really excited.
What's crazy is it almost happened. I mean, we thought it did happen a couple of years ago.
Yes, we
We were celebrating, we
Yeah,
were
yeah.
high-fiving, and then
Yeah.
we looked down the field and there was a flag on the field.
Yeah.
It was first and goal.
Illegal procedure.
It became a
And the whole
complicated
thing got
issue.
called back, but
yeah.
we continued the drive, and 2 years later, we found the end
And,
zone.
and here we are.
That's right.
Well, welcome. We're
Yeah,
thrilled
thanks.
to have you, obviously.
Yeah. By the way, do you always show up? Like you got the timing of this down. Like
Listen,
you walked in.
I've got 9
IFB
jobs.
was already on.
I've got 9 jobs, so
Pull
I've
up.
got no minute to waste.
But you are productive and you get it done.
I make it happen. Every day I make it. They'll tell you.
And often, Jay, not only is he walking in at the last second, but he always makes it on time, but often he's on the phone.
Yeah.
He's like wrapping up some sort of conference call.
It's just madness.
What
Big
I-
debate yesterday, by the way, Jay, we were debating whether you were 59 or 60.
Yeah, I got a text from Steve yesterday, and he said, "Are you 59 or 60?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm
Yeah.
59."
Yeah.
I've been very public about that.
Yeah.
And then I figured out, I know what happened.
Yeah.
Math can be hard for some people.
I
Yeah,
count by
especially Mike.
3s and 7s.
Yeah.
That's it. 59s is not in my original.
No, what I
struggles.
said was, when I turned 59, I said, and when I notoriously and famously shut down Tyvis's attempt to go yard on me, I kept saying, I'm in my 60th year.
Yes.
And that
That's
could be tricky
I
for
knew
some.
it was in my head. I knew
Mike
you said
struggles
60.
with that's way too complicated for Mike. I mean,
I'm stupid.
I'm gonna have to blame you on that one, Jay. That's above his pay grade.
Listen, I know they told you there'd be no math in this job.
Yeah.
But I've said that to other people, and they say, "You're 60?" And I say, "No, I'm in my 60th year."
Yeah.
Well, then you're 60. I said, "No, when you're a day old, you're not yet one, but you're in your first year."
That's right. That's true.
And it's hard for some people to get their minds around, but I am indeed 59.
It has been a long preseason / training camp, hasn't it?
It
We were just
has.
talking about that real quick before the show.
Yeah,
It feels like the longest preseason training camp.
Is it because they go to West Virginia
Yes.
and it's segmented now? Because
Yes,
that's what it feels like for me.
100%. I was going to say the exact same thing you just said. Because they're gone, we don't have eyes on them, and so everything that they do down in West Virginia, we don't know. We don't get
Right.
to see about. We're
not there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's seen Deshaun Watson really throw that
No,
much. I mean,
no.
you saw in the game a little bit, but I mean, it's
Some
it's,
people have. Some people say this is his best offseason
Well, let's
ever.
let's certainly hope so. But
We're gonna
the
start with
point
that.
is, this thing has been like forever. I mean, the Hall of Fame game was like a month ago.
Yeah.
2 months ago.
And
Feels
you know
like
what
it.
another part of it
a
is?
year ago.
Yes.
Another part of it is, and this is not new this year, but it's the last couple of years, and I don't think we're still not used to it. It used to be you had the last preseason game, and then a week later you
Yes,
played.
you're right.
Now it's more than 2 weeks because
Yes.
everybody finishes like Thursday, Friday. Like
And
the
that
Browns
adds
played
to it.
Thursday, and so now it's 15 days till they, or more than that,
Yeah.
17 days till they play.
It feels like an eternity.
Yes.
Just caught my eye. There's Canadian tuxedos. Everybody knows what that is. Jean
Yeah.
jacket jeans. This takes Canadian tuxedo to the next level.
Yeah, man.
Like, bro, you've got the aggressive, fancy stitching everywhere.
Yeah, man,
You
listen.
gave a nickel or two for that.
Man, this is light, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to I don't know where I got it from. Yes, I do. I lied. The shirt is Forever 21. Shout out to Fashion Nova on the
Are
top.
you a 17-year-old girl?
Yeah.
I didn't even know they made dude stuff.
Yeah,
I didn't either.
Yeah, they got go in there and get you something, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
It's a value, though.
yeah, it is.
Now,
Right?
do you get your bracelets there as well?
No. Bracelets is different. These
No.
these
You go to
bracelets,
Claire's for that?
You can mess.
Claire's.
Hey, you can mess around and find something on Claire's. Don't play with it. See, you gotta mix it
Oh,
up.
I didn't
and
say you
match it
couldn't.
up.
I'm saying you can get it for $12.
Yeah, about 13. Then you got the Invictus.
See, you've sort of got the gold there sort of matches the same color as your fringe.
You know how we doing it.
Well, that's fancy.
Shout out to the Clink Room too, man. You know what I'm saying? I got the new hat on today. Clink Room. Shout out to them.
All right,
We
very
doing
good.
it.
Our
I can
wardrobes
get
are
you
brought
one-
to you by us.
I can get you one of these if you want, like one of these jackets.
I'm gonna get back to you on that. I gotta think about it.
Who would look the funniest in that outfit?
Mike
You.
McNuggets.
Me? You think McNuggets?
Oh yeah,
No,
maybe.
it's Bull.
It's
I
definitely
think it is
Bull.
Bull.
Yeah.
that would be
I bet it's
wild.
full. But I got to tell you,
Yeah.
it would be dope if we could get both you guys in the Canadian tuxedo with fringe on the same day.
That would be good.
I think I might
don't-
do. If the Browns win, you know what? I might. If the Browns win, I might come in costume every Monday. Like,
Okay.
Well, you were doing that on Fridays with
Yeah,
WKYC. You were bringing the big hat, the Smokey the Bear hat.
Yeah.
Remember?
Smokey
We
the
have
Bear,
to point out
Yeah.
quickly because how do you miss it? One of us is in tennis garb. I'll let you figure
Yeah.
out who it is. Now, last night in our and by the way, welcome to the UCSS text chain.
Yeah,
it is a form of entertainment.
Dude, I check it. I checked it twice yesterday.
Yeah.
But then you jumped in aggressively with the tennis talk.
yeah.
And now you got to try. Dustin is for those who don't know, I'm sure most people that know him know, he is an obsessed tennis fan.
Yes.
Like he is obsessed.
Well, what I loved most
Yeah.
about it yesterday,
Yeah.
and I read them all at once, or sometimes like you, midday once
Yeah.
late in the day. But what really cracked me up was he says, and by the way, the Guardians are playing a great game.
Yeah.
At the time, I think the game was 2-1, but it was in the
This,
balance.
by the way, this text was after the Guardians game ended, just for what
Okay.
it's
Well,
worth.
Because my timeline is,
I
I
understand,
read them all at once.
but I made sure the Guardians game ended before I slid in with a sneak attack.
Hey, you guys watching the match?
Yeah.
He says the match. and we all know what that means. But Jason
Yeah.
slides in and says, "I feel pretty comfortable speaking for everyone here. No."
Yeah.
And none of us were.
I mean, it was kind of a big match last night. I'm saying Francis Tiafoe
Did he
against
win?
Dimitrov. Yes, well, Dimitrov had to retire, but now
Okay.
he will play Taylor Fritz Friday in the semifinal, which
Guarantees
an American will make a final for the first time since 2005.
This is a
which
huge
was Andre
deal.
Agassi.
Yes.
First time American has made a Grand Slam final since 2009, which was Andy Roddick at Wimbledon.
American tennis, men, obviously
It's been
women's
struggling
a totally
for a
different
while.
story. The men for American tennis has been not just struggling, it's embarrassing. Embarrassing.
It's like the U.S. soccer.
After we dominated for many. Yeah, but unlike soccer
we're new
we
to.
used to be great
Yeah, it's-
back in the
like
day.
tennis, we used to dominate,
Yeah.
and now it's like you said, 2005. To think that it's been 19 years
Yeah.
since we've had an American in our
Yeah,
championship.
it's wild.
McEnroe, Connors, what's his name?
Agassi.
Yeah, August.
Yeah,
but
Blake good.
Jim Courier.
Blake.
Courier had some time.
James Blake.
I didn't think we'd be talking tennis now.
No,
because-
you know what? We've already exceeded our yearly limit for tennis talk.
So excited.
Right?
That's right.
So, but anyhow, we welcome.
Shout out to the Hall of Fame courts in Canton, Ohio.
Yeah,
Shout out
that's an old school. Hey, by the way, Francis Tiafoe, you'd like him, black tennis player.
I seen him.
Wow.
I seen him before.
Yeah, he's a baller.
Listen. We got to support all black people wherever.
That's part of the deal here.
Black.
That's part of the deal here. You take it or leave it.
And, I mean, listen. Every time,
Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
every time a Jewish
Bush.
player gets called up to the majors,
We support Jewish
I
people,
text my
too.
friends. I'm like, my other Jew. I'm like, hey, we just got another one up there.
Was it you or another one of my Jewish friends that always
Yeah.
sends me Jewish pride stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it might have been you, though. Someone sent me a text saying that the hell is frozen over.
Yeah.
There is a baseball game tonight where there will be two Jewish starting pitchers going against each other for the first time ever. Was that you?
No, that wasn't me. It would have been Max Fried maybe against, I can't think who else is a starter. There's some relievers. I didn't do that, but there was a first ever the other day, in the last week where the pitcher, the catcher, and the batter were all Jewish, which there's only 20 Jewish players in baseball.
Wow.
And it was, the pitcher was a guy who just got called up named Max Lazar.
Okay.
Which ironically
You have his rookie card?
is my wife's mom's maiden name, but I don't
No
think there's any
relation.
relation.
Okay.
The catcher is a guy named Garrett Stubbs, not a Jewish name, but he's Jewish.
Yeah.
And then the hitter was Jock Peterson, again, not a Jewish name, but he's
No.
Jewish. So
Wow, there you go.
That's it.
History is made.
History is
They
made.
say if you watch baseball long, you see something
You see
that
everything.
you've never seen before.
That's true.
That's happened.
We'll
You
get
guys
to the
want to talk
Guardians
about
later.
white cornerbacks? You know?
Yeah, aren't there a couple
We
of white
also support white cornerbacks.
Aren't there a couple of white cornerbacks that just got drafted?
I think
Cooper DeJean.
Cooper
in
DeJean.
Philly.
Yeah,
Philly.
that was it though. That I
And
Oh, I thought there were
remember.
two.
There's another kid in
Was there?
Miami. Another kid in Miami. He was an undrafted kid, but he actually
Undrafted.
played.
Did he
but
make the team?
He did. And he played last year at corner in the game.
Oh,
Couple
okay.
games,
That's a
actually.
very short list.
They're making
Yeah.
a comeback.
And you
Yeah.
are top 5.
We back.
You top 5, dead or alive.
Be
Yes.
back. All right, Mike.
We have
Sorry
hit
about
on
the
all
tangent.
the stuff that we didn't plan on hitting in 10
Yeah,
minutes.
I know.
Which means we got an hour and 50 minutes of pure Cleveland, unfiltered sports talk coming your way. And we have a new sponsor we're going to unveil in a few minutes. But first, as always, our first topic of the day is brought to us by FanDuel. It is undisputed that FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook, and right now they have a little something different for everyone out there. Starting today through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. Jay, we are just a few days away from kickoff.
We are.
Finally.
We're actually just one day away, right?
Friday and
NFL
Saturday.
kickoff,
Yeah, from the season.
NFL kickoff. Yeah,
From the
I meant
NFL season.
specifically for the Browns. We are
Yeah.
so close to finally seeing Deshaun Watson play real meaningful football since last November. And on the Maggie and Pirloff show yesterday, Deshaun
Perloff.
Watson's quarterback, Perloff, excuse me. Deshaun Watson's quarterback
know that
coach,
show was
Quincy
so long.
Avery, was on and talked about Deshaun's rehab. And as Steve's pulling it up, Steve knew this was here, Steve. Slacking on me.
Steve, you got one
we're gonna
job,
play
man.
this stop from Quincy Avery whenever you get a chance. Here's Quincy Avery talking about Deshaun Watson's offseason as he gets ready to take on the Cowboys in Week 1.
I think that this has been his best offseason in a really long time in terms of preparation for the game, being able to throw, putting himself in position where he's able to do all the things throwing-wise that he needs to do to be successful in an NFL game, and he's in a good spot. I mean, we've tested, so it's not, hey, is it as good, right? He throws the ball as hard with more velocity. Like, his miles per hour are higher now than they were prior to the injury, so those things are not like a concern.
Jay, do you have any concerns headed into Sunday's matchup against the Cowboys?
Of course. Anybody that's been paying attention has concerns because we don't know what we have. And I don't know that I would have said that. Why are you heaping more pressure on a guy that's
Great point.
just really succumbed to the pressure, if you think about it? Well, we talked about how difficult it was going to be for Deshaun Watson to overcome the off-the-field stuff. And we watched a guy who was a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback come to Cleveland and really kind of succumb to that pressure. And so I was hoping that this offseason, really I was hoping since back to the surgery, that the entire stretch from then to today would be pulling the relief valve on the pressure cooker that has been around Deshaun Watson. And we kind of have. He's been under the radar, not a lot of national chatter about him at all, which I think is good. But to have your guy come out and say, best offseason in a very long time, throwing the ball harder, that heaps expectations upon what we already had. So, yes, I have concerns, and we can circle back around, but I'm curious to see if what that comment did to your guys' thoughts on what we're going to expect from Deshaun Watson.
I mean, I thought the exact same thing you just said, is that we already, put a lot of expectations on him, a lot of pressure on him as fans.
With the contract,
as media,
too.
with the contract. For sure, you make that much money, people expect you to play excellent football, to be like a top 5 type of quarterback, and he hasn't been. Right. I mean, he's had a couple of good quarters where he's made some plays, but not nearly enough. To this point, it's been an absolute disaster. Anybody who says otherwise is fooling themselves. But this year, I feel like we've lowered the expectations, probably rightfully so, to a point where...
Up until this.
Correct. And now, all of a sudden, we feel like, oh, his quarterback coach says he's 1,000% healthy. He's throwing the ball harder than prior to the injury. It's like, okay, well, now we expect the Super Bowl.
I do.
Why not? When you signed the guy for $245 million, you signed him to win a Super Bowl. And so, to this point, hasn't done any of that. But if he's better than when we signed him or when we saw when he was healthy, okay, why not have those expectations?
Well, I know that we've kind of dubbed this season the No Excuses Tour, right? And I'm with you on that. There are no excuses. I think the one thing that would give pause to some fans who are ready to say, this guy's done, he'll never be what we thought, is the fact that that injury was still lingering. But to me, and not that that was going to be an excuse, because, Bull, I'm with you.
Yeah.
No excuses tour. If 2 weeks in, he has to sit for a sore shoulder, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. But now, based on the fact that his own guy is saying he's throwing the ball harder, the injury is absolutely a non-factor, the shadow of a possible excuse has just been set on fire, and you can take that off the table. I don't want to hear about an injury. I don't want to hear about a sore shoulder. That's gone.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to find out everything we need to know this year about Deshaun Watson because, yeah, I mean, I understand he's going to still make money next year or so. Even if he has a bad year, he's probably still going to be the starting quarterback next year. But
it would have to be a disaster for him not to be.
Right. But when the Browns traded for Deshaun Watson, I think most of us were super excited. Maybe you not quite as much, and there was a segment of the fan base between the off-the-field stuff and because of a fondness for Baker Mayfield, there was a percentage of the fan base that wasn't as excited.
Right.
But I know that myself, and I believe the majority of the fan base initially was super pumped.
Would you say
about
this,
this
Bull?
move.
I would say that with maybe the exception of OBJ,
Yeah.
this was the most celebrated acquisition in the history of the Cleveland Browns. Probably Bernie Kosar going into the supplemental draft was probably bigger.
No doubt. Certainly in the modern history.
In the modern era,
Since I've been here.
OBJ was big.
That
People
was big.
were running around in the streets after OBJ.
Yeah, especially because we thought even I and people who were down on Baker were a little higher on him then than we were now. But
I mean, listen, we were excited for Johnny Manziel too, but it was different with those guys because they never played in the league.
They had no track
Deshaun
record of
Watson
success in
was
the NFL.
proven.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everything we saw for Deshaun Watson before Cleveland was great. I understand the record his last year there was bad, but everybody was like, okay, well, it wasn't his fault. They were bad. The team sucked around him, and look at these numbers he put up.
Right.
And the 2 years before that, he went to the playoffs. He got up on Patrick Mahomes that 1 year in the postseason. Had a great Deshaun. I just find it impossible to believe that all of that talent has gone away. It's got to still be there. And I feel like this is the last chance for him to find it. Because if he goes 4 years without a good season, I can no longer have any faith that it's coming back. This is the last chance. I got to believe it's still there. And, I've been kind of lukewarm on Deshaun Watson all offseason. But if his coach is saying he's healthy, and I remember that feeling I had when the Browns traded from the excitement I had that the Browns had finally found a franchise quarterback. Yeah. And I'm actually a little more optimistic about Deshaun Watson than I've been for most of the season. I'm still not going to say I'm 100% convinced. How could you be? He hasn't played well enough. He's coming off an injury. He's barely played. But he's still young enough. The talent is there. He's got to get it done. And, yeah, there are zero excuses. He's got the talent around him. He's got everything he needs to have success.
All right, G-Bush, you're up.
Man, this is exactly what he was supposed to be saying. That's what I'm talking about, Quincy. You got your man out here. That's exactly what you're supposed to be saying. Stand on that. Give me that 110%. Like, look, we talk about he want him to have confidence. I want my quarterback having confidence. I want him to be like, you know what? Yeah, they ain't seen me. I want you to sleep on it. I want you to see what I'm doing over here. But the thing is, Quincy didn't see him practice. He didn't see him play. He's with him every single day. And one of the things that we talked about so many times is getting the quarterback to be back confident to who he is. And part of being confident in who you are is vocalizing that. That's why Jameis Winston is here for a certain.
Can you speak performance into existence, though?
Yeah. That has to be easy.
Damn, I've tried that. It doesn't work.
But it
doesn't for me.
But you got to be. I mean, no disrespect. Deshaun Watson's a world class athlete. I mean, he's done it.
Was he speaking that into his? Remember, his talk before last season was very confident.
Like we talk about it. We can go back and we can relitigate and rehash. We can go back and say, yeah, he's played 11 games, whole games. He sat out a year. People say that's his problem. He came back. He couldn't be in because he got suspended. Couldn't be in the offseason. Couldn't practice. He came off the street and threw footballs when he was there, not last year, but the year before. He played 6 games this year. That's all been litigated. Here's the point. We here right now. It's game time. It's game week. And for Deshaun Watson, he wouldn't have made that statement if he didn't think Deshaun Watson was 1,000% ready to go. Kevin Stefanski would have not played him if Kevin Stefanski didn't think he was 1,000% ready to go. And they keep restructuring this deal. So the front office got the backing of Deshaun Watson. So everybody is backing it, right? For us, I'm not going to tell the fans to believe in something they ain't seen yet. That's part of the game. Like, yeah, you got to go out and prove it. It don't matter what Quincy say. He's still got to come out and throw the football. But
you think it added pressure to him? Unnecessary pressure?
No, he better like the pressure. He better embrace it.
Hasn't so far.
I was going to say the same thing. Yeah, at this point, the pressure's gotten in his head, it appears.
I don't know one quarterback. If you think that he's going to be a top-notch quarterback or a Pro Bowler or a quarterback that gets it done to hold that trophy, you got to be able to deal with the pressure. So I'm not trying to take none off of him. If you're going to be Manning or Brady or Roethlisberger or one of the greats or even win with Patrick Mahomes, you can't be half-stepping with Patrick Mahomes in your division and Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Man, you better come out here and
so
throw.
let's do this. Based on what we've heard, we haven't seen him. Let's give what I expect Deshaun Watson to do on Sunday at Huntington Bank Field. That's going to take some time. And somebody, I don't know if all you guys got it. I saw somebody sent a suggestion that we need a nickname, the hunting ground, because our defense hunts opponents.
Yeah,
let's just let that
we can call it whatever we want.
Yeah.
They're not paying us.
No, yeah. So
I called it Cleveland Brown Stadium when it was First Energy Stadium.
That's right.
That's exactly right. So here's what we have to figure out.
Yeah.
What's he going to do on Sunday? What are your expectations? And here's my expectation.
Yeah.
Based on the Browns were so confident they didn't need to put him out there in the preseason. He doesn't need to play. He's fine. He's 100% ready to go on all 8 cylinders on the first snap.
I don't think that. I think it was cautious.
If you weren't sure, you better get his ass out there and let it see. Let's see it.
I think they was cautious about the shoulder.
We can split hairs. The fact is, if they felt that he had to go out there to play, he would have been out there. Cautious or not,
Dak didn't play either in the preseason.
I understand.
Another one of the few quarterbacks. Most of the quarterbacks played at least a little bit.
Yeah, Dak
here's
also
what I would
played
say.
well last year.
Yeah, that's
based
true.
on my information, and then we'll all give our lines. Browns didn't play him in the preseason.
Yeah.
He seems ready to go, says he feels great. He's ready to have a great season. Quincy says 100%, arm is stronger than ever, injury's not an issue. My expectations for him on Sunday, I need 275 passing yards. I need 2 touchdowns. I need no interceptions. And I'm going to need some plays in the clutch. That's what I need.
I don't think that's unreasonable. That would be a really good game.
I don't think it is either.
Obviously numbers are down the last couple of years. We've talked about this. Maybe they'll pop back up this year. So that would, I
went with that ball. I was going to, normally I'd say, well, okay, I need 303.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But today's 303 is 275 and 2. Give me that.
250, 2 touchdowns, no picks.
How about be 60% on third down
I like that.
and be great in the red zone?
Okay,
Yep.
You know what? I really like that.
I care more about that than I care about 275 and 2
That's
touchdowns.
fine.
That's
fine.
situational,
That's
and that's what clutch players do. They're 60%.
I mean, especially in a game like this where it's a challenging game, it's the opener. Like, you don't have to put it all on your shoulders, Deshaun.
And you played a good defense.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where Kevin Stefanski has time. They've had all offseason for this game. It should be a great game plan for the offense coming in.
You guys expect a low-scoring game? I do.
I don't know.
I don't know that 21.
It's the first game of the year, so you never know what to expect.
Right.
Nobody knows. I mean, it could be sloppy because the lack of preseason play, all these things.
Both of these offenses played as little as any offense in the league. Because I don't think C.D. Lamb – I know Dak didn't play. I don't think C.D. Lamb played.
He didn't play.
Zeke Elliott didn't play in the preseason.
No.
And he's, I guess, their starting running back. So
we have to write these down, and then Monday we'll revisit and see what part of these goals
I am expecting a low-scoring game because I'm expecting both teams' defenses to be ahead of the offense.
Okay.
But, of course, as Dustin said, he's right. Week one, weird things happen sometimes. You never know.
So what's your line for Watson on Monday morning?
So first and foremost, you get in the red zone, you got to get 7, not 3. I think he has to get rid of the football very quickly. I don't want to see too much improvisation because you got defensive ends coming off the edge. You got to keep your tackles in the game. But in terms of third down, I need you to keep us ahead of the chains. When it gets to third down, I want to be in third and medium, 3rd and 5, 36, 37. So no negative plays on first and second down. And then what I want to see too is I want to see how efficient you are in an intermediate passing game. You can get the little dink and dunk stuff, but there's going to be a couple of throws that they give you, and you're going to have them open. You got to hit the chunk plays. You got to give me those. If you want to say 275, I'm looking at somewhere between 265 and 285.
So we're in the same ballpark.
And 2 touchdowns. Hey, no turnovers, and that goes for losing the football on sacks as well. If you go back and look at the Pittsburgh game last year, they had that game in the bag at Pittsburgh. The Browns defense playing lights out. He fumbled the football. T.J. Watt got it, and that was game. So that's what I'm looking for.
I mean, he cost him that game.
Yeah.
He
The
did.
Steelers had 0 yards of offense in the second half.
Yeah.
Or was it the fourth quarter?
Fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Browns,
Which is
I
hard
think,
to
won
believe.
every statistical category.
Yeah, except for points.
If you just watched it with your eyes and you
Yeah.
didn't look at the numbers, the Browns should have won that football game.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. That's our expectations for Week 1. And the one thing that none of us mentioned, and I know it's a big opponent, but it's at home. Vegas says we should win. There's one stat that matters. We need the dub. Period. End of story. We want to be an elite team. The Cowboys are an elite team. They had a mirror season to us last year. Nice regular season, got thumped in the first round of the playoffs, and their party was over. So at the end of the day, I will give him some grace if he goes for 185, a touchdown and a pick, but makes plays in the clutch that leads the team to a victory.
Sure.
So you get the dub, and you get the check mark for me.
I feel like there's kind of an eye test element to it too, where
There
numbers
always
could
is.
lie. You could throw a screen pass and someone breaks it for 85 yards,
Sure.
and there's going to be 5-6 throws throughout the game. And G and Dustin, I'm sure you could attest to this. There are 5-6, maybe a few more, maybe a few less, give or take. A few plays throughout the game that kind of define the outcome.
Yeah.
And Deshaun has to be good in those specific plays more than anything else, whether the completion percentage isn't as high as we want, the yards aren't there, the touchdowns, the turnovers.
Yeah.
When push comes to shove and those 5, 6, 7, whatever the number is, when those plays that matter are in front of him, he has to be able to make those plays.
I agree. Be good in the clutch.
He has the biggest opportunity of his career coming up. This game, this is why I say you double down and you better go attack it. The conversation we have is with Deshaun has been don't mess it up. I got the exact opposite. My mental state. You got to go attack it. Sometimes people can look at different points in time in your life when you get an opportunity to do something. You got to overkill it sometimes. And he's playing the Dallas Cowboys with Tom Brady at home, 425 game, the game of the week, everybody watching it. It's the America's team. Do you know what you could do for your career to come out there and put something on tape? If you want to,
he could change the narrative.
That would
in a hurry.
change 35% of the fan base's mindset.
You're right about that. And I was thinking about that earlier today. We've been in the doorway on Deshaun Watson for almost 3 years, 2+ years.
Yeah.
When I say in the doorway, we're either in or we're out. And I would say the vast majority of Browns fans are in the doorway.
I agree with
there
that.
are some that are in.
Yeah.
There are some that are out. But the vast majority of us stand right underneath that door.
Yeah. That's where I am.
If he comes out week 1 and balls out, and the Browns win 35-7 and make this emphatic statement that, we've got a new horse to watch in the AFC, the narrative swings on Deshaun Watson. A lot of those people that are in the doorway are going to be coming to work Monday saying, I knew he was our guy. I knew it all along. Right. He was our guy.
That's right.
So, and here's the other thing I'm most looking forward to on Sunday, and I can't believe somebody asked me this earlier in the week, and I said, I can't believe that this is my answer, but it is. I am most looking forward to Tom Brady's commentary on Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Why?
Yeah.
Who's the guru of quarterbacks in the history of the game?
That's right.
His name is Tom Brady.
Right.
I hope he's going to keep it real and not be
I do too.
politically correct.
I do too. We're going to find out a lot because we don't know how he's going to handle that. My hope is that we get unfiltered, real Tom Brady, where he calls it what he sees.
Yeah.
If he's going to be one of these guys that everybody's doing okay and, hey, you got to cut him some slack, I won't listen to him.
Yeah.
I need him to be, if he's honest and gives us his true thoughts on what he sees,
it'll be great.
He has the potential to be one of the greatest color people of all time.
No doubt.
Because of his knowledge and his experience.
And you talk about, like, if he has a great game, Deshaun, that's going to change a lot of minds or take people like us who are on the fence right now
put us in
and push them forward.
Yep.
And that's because we've seen him be great in Houston. if he had no track record of greatness, I don't know that one game is going to change your mind that much.
Right. Well, the half against Baltimore hasn't changed the minds of the people that are still in the doorway.
It hasn't changed it for me, and because it's something that Mike said was the eye test. Like whenever I obviously didn't watch Deshaun Watson play every game in Houston, but almost every time I saw him play for Houston, he wowed you.
Yeah, you're right.
You watched him and you're like, this guy is special.
Yeah.
Like he passed the eye test every time I saw him play.
Yeah.
And for me, he hasn't passed it once watching the Browns. Now, people may
the
disagree.
second half against Baltimore, he passed it.
Even then,
For
a
me,
lot of
it
the passes
didn't.
were short, and I mean, I'm not trying to be overly critical, even though people are gonna be like, "He's a hater."
Yeah.
I'm not a hater. I want to see a guy, like you said, pass
Yeah.
the eye
Well,
test.
you know
the
what?
eye test to me, good.
But maybe it was because of the first half that he played. That was the worst half he's played as a Brown.
Yeah.
And then in 15 minutes, with an injury, he came out of the locker room and put together, unquestionably, his best half against the Brown. And we talk about big plays, clutch moments, and I know that there were some made by the defense, but at the end of the day, they walked out of the stadium with a victory. Winning at Baltimore is almost it's like a unicorn for the Browns.
Yeah.
And he was able to turn around his absolute worst half of football. And I mean, whether you were impressed by it or not, you have to admit it was his best half.
I'm not saying it wasn't an impressive
Brown,
No,
yeah.
I
and they got the
You're not
dub.
willing to say it was Houston level, Deshaun.
Yeah, right.
I guess there's just something that's missing with him where I don't feel confident that, hey, we can win a tight ball game in the playoffs or even a really tough regular season opponent.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something off there where I just think he's like sort of like got his toes in the water with leadership and confidence. And I really just want to see him go out there, especially this week in particular, and just command. Like, you know when a quarterback has command. Tom Brady is the all-time the best at it.
Yeah.
But it's not just like guys like Tom Brady. There's guys all across the league currently that you're like, that guy's got it. I mean, it may be Josh Allen. It might be a Lamar Jackson. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. Joe Burrow even to some degree. Like, you look at those guys, you're like, yep, that guy freaking gets it.
Yeah, it's the it factor. You know it when you see it.
You know it.
And we saw it in Houston. We haven't seen it here.
fair.
And if we see it in the first week, you're going to be like, he's back.
We're all in.
He's back.
That
and
doorway will be empty.
That's right.
And we'll all be inside.
You talk about the it factor. Someone who definitely has the it factor is our next guest. We're going to bring Leroy on after a quick word from Game Time. If you want to get tickets to the Browns game this Sunday, there's no better place to buy your tickets online than with Game Time. And right now, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets for your favorite live events even easier. Game Time Picks filters out all the fluff to show you only the incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste your time searching through thousands of tickets. Plus, they have panoramic views from your seat. Their lowest price guarantee. They have the best ticket coverage purchase on the market, and you can toggle out what you don't want to see, so there will be no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app today, create an account, and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Once again, create an account on the Game Time app. Redeem code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's Game Time. And with that, it's Leroy Hoard
Here
time
he
here
is.
on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Haven't seen this guy in a while.
There's that background. I love it.
Hey, let's go.
Look at that shirt, though. Why'd you have to wear that
We
shirt?
back at it, man.
Because I'll be up there next week.
Hey, Leroy, people are starting to call Deontay Foreman the Leroy Hoard of the 2020s. What do you think about that?
That's disrespectful.
Uh,
Come on now. Come on now.
I
Come on.
would-
Nah.
Nobody's calling him that. I'm just busting your chops.
I know. But
By some people, he means himself.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I was.
I would
Go
say
ahead.
this, is that I played football a little bit differently because I had decent speed, but I wasn't as fast as Eric Metcalf, so I couldn't avoid confrontations. So I lived and played my whole career based on this saying, now what? And that is, okay, you eluded the blocker, you have the running back coming at you, now what? And I was able to win a lot of those confrontations so that I could have success. So, it didn't matter who was out there. It didn't matter what was going on because I just did me.
By the way, Leroy, you and Bernie Kosar in an Oklahoma drill, who comes out on top?
I wouldn't hit Bernie. I wouldn't hit
Bernie ends up in the hospital.
I wouldn't hit Bernie. Because all I can imagine is us colliding and him going, bro.
No more hits, bro.
No more hits, bro.
So, no, I would not. I tell you what, one of the guys that who was very pivotal in helping me early on in my career, I could do no harm to Bernie, ever.
Yeah.
Hey, Leroy, looking at this game this week, obviously we've been talking so much about Deshaun and so much about this offseason. It's been so long, man, since we feel like we've had a real game, especially even the preseason's been super long. But as we approach this game this week, no Nick Chubb. I'm curious your take on the rushing attack, because Kevin Stefanski has been so big on running the football to set up the pass and being this aggressive team without Nick Chubb. How much do you anticipate the Browns, relying on the ground attack?
See, the great thing about football is you are who you are, right? Without certain pieces, you may not be as good, but you still are who you are. You're going to run the football. You're going to do play action. You're going to do things to get your guys open in the secondary, and hopefully you have a quarterback that can complete the pass. That's just the way they are. That's the way they've been. And I have the utmost confidence in Kevin Stefanski for this reason. He went to the playoffs with 5 quarterbacks. 5 quarterbacks. And
Some of them
so
are pretty bad.
And if you want the other side of that, look at the New York Jets.
Yeah.
So you should have more appreciation for what Kevin Stefanski did when you look around the league and one guy goes down and it's over. So I'm going to have some faith in what he can do with that offense and what Ford and the other guys can do. I just think that, a lot of running the football is no penetration and hoping the running back has vision. And the offensive line has done a hell of a job of doing that the last couple of years. I heard you guys talking about Deshaun Watson, and one of the things that I try to shy away from, you ever try to do something because you want to have success so bad and you try so hard that it becomes an epic failure?
100
Right.
times in my life.
Golf.
So the way you guys are explaining as to what Deshaun Watson has to do, the only thing I want to hear and the only thing that I heard that I could agree with is lead. Whatever that's required of you to lead. And that is, there are going to be moments in the game where you got to make a play. Then just accept it and make that play. Don't force it. Just make the play. Right? But if you go out there and try too hard, you can't be relaxed and play with your natural abilities. No matter if I ever tried to play extra hard, I was tight. I was uncomfortable. And it got to the point where in my career, I just went out and played. It is what it is. And you have to have that approach, knowing that the work that you put in and your preparation and your talent is going to get you over the hump. But if Deshaun Watson goes out there and tries too hard to make plays, then he's going to put his team in a bad spot. And so I don't necessarily care about the numbers as much as I care about how he looks as a general in that offense on the field. And you want to, after this game, get the feeling that, okay, he's going to be our quarterback for the year. We can just ride with him. And it won't be the numbers that tells you that. It won't be, all those things, because I think this is a game here. When you talk about Dallas's defense, everybody in the world has gashed him. So it's probably going to be an emphasis on running the football. And we tend to overlook that because till this day, who's their defensive guy?
Michael Parsons?
Mike Zimmer.
Michael Parsons has not set an edge since he's been in the league.
Yeah, well.
And so what you do is you exploit those things.
Green Bay did.
Right. And so let's look at the bigger picture of what's going on. My only hope for this team is that it happens a lot in sports where you have a dominant side of the ball and you spend the next 10 years trying to catch up. When you finally catch up, the other side of the ball has gotten old.
Yeah.
And the way this defense has played the last 4 or 5 years, right? I would just like a comparable offense to be able to go out there so they can play complementary football. And we can see what the overall picture would look like centered around what that defense can do getting after the football.
Especially before Myles Garrett hangs up his jersey.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I agree with you on one thing you just said, Leroy. I believe that this game can't come down to Deshaun Watson throwing the ball 40 or 50 times.
Right.
They have to be at least married to the idea of continually running the football, even if it isn't for chunk plays, even if it isn't for 30 or 40 yards. It's just the threat and the idea of, hey, don't be running upfield. We can run this football. When you look at Jerome Ford, right, it's always a mixed feeling when you got Jerome Ford, right? Obviously he's not Nick Chubb. What are your thoughts on Jerome Ford?
But that's why you got that mixed feeling.
Right? You know what I'm saying?
That mixed feeling. You got that mixed feeling. Nah, he's not built like Nick Chubb.
Right.
He's just different. He's a different kind of guy. He runs with some physicality, but more speed. Mm-hmm. Like he's not as confrontational as Nick Chubb is. And you just kind of accept that. What you do when you watch him play is all you want to see is he running tough? Is he finding the right spots to run tough? There's guys that have speed and have physical attributes, and they don't know where they're running, and it looks terrible. So as long as he can do that, you know what I mean? And you see he's making good decisions. He's running with the football. He's protecting. He's doing all those things. He'll be fine. And we've seen that out of him. You've seen that burst and that explosiveness through the line. At times, he looked tentative because he wasn't quite sure where to go or what he was looking at. But as he's gotten along in his career, you see he's made more decisive decisions. That's with coaching. That's with playing. That's with a lot of things, get more opportunities. So hopefully we'll see that next progression of him putting it all together.
Leroy, as a running back, what was the difference for you, year 1 to year 2, year 2 to year 3?
Year 1 was a cluster bleep because I lost more games my rookie year in the NFL than I lost in high school and college put together.
Yikes.
So imagine what that's like for a 22-year-old going into a team that just came off the AFC Championship game.
Right.
So it was a culture shock for me. The next year, believe it or not, I had more yards receiving than I did rushing. So I didn't have – because I caught a lot of passes. It wasn't until my third year where they started using me more as a running back, and then the fourth year when everybody got hurt and Bill Belichick had no choice.
What about, for you, from a skill standpoint?
For me, when did it click? It clicked going into my second year. But what happened for me is that you realized that you were the only option. And then it became more of a responsibility than you just playing football. You got to be responsible to your teammates and other guys on the field. Because when you turn around and look for somebody else, there was nobody else coming in.
Yeah, right.
And so I was kind of scared straight, if there's no other way to put it. And plus I had guys like Kevin Mack, Ernest Biner, Eric Metcalf, on me. Right? Hey, man, you got to pick this up. Now, the one thing I will say is I always was good in the playbook. So from the day I got in, I always knew what to do. It was just a matter of being a better pro at it. And when Bill Belichick came in, it was, a bit of a culture change. That had a lot to do with it, and the way he prepared and the way he had us prepare for games. And then going into my third and fourth year was just a matter of, I know what to do, let's just prepare and go out and do it. And then I was able, for the rest of my career, just know, even if I changed teams, I knew the basic scheme of things. And so I understood, concepts and stuff like that. Right. And I was still able to just go out, get the ball, and do, and play running back.
Leroy, one of the questions we had asked each other yesterday was Myles Garrett. Can he have a season better than he had last year, which was unbelievable, like an all-time great season? A lot of us think he can continue to grow. And second year in Jim Schwartz's defense, and We know how talented he is. Is it possible for Myles Garrett to get any better?
I want you to go tell him you can't.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be the one. That dude, his forearms are big as my calves. Like really, like yeah. No, you know what? One of the things I love about watching him play is he's a guy who's dominant, who dominates, and will cause havoc on that side of the ball. You're not gonna be stronger than him. You're not going to be more physical than him, and in most cases, you're not going to be as quick as him off the ball. And I think when other guys see him, those other D linemen, he sets that standard. And I think, and I wish that he would demand it on both sides of the ball. You know, everybody isn't built for that, but I kind of, with how he does things, I wish he did have that voice. Yeah. To be able to put those demands on everybody. And I'm not saying he should or shouldn't. I'm just saying I wish that he could, because we had, you have guys on either side of the ball that can come up to you and you respect them enough to say, hey, we need to get it going, and you respect those words and you go out and get it done.
Leroy, yesterday, another thing we talked about was Jack Conklin, who's been a right guard basically his whole career, potentially starting week 1 at left tackle. We had Tyvis on the panel, in addition to G and Dustin. They all played defense. You played offense. I know you didn't play the offensive line, but you were heavily involved with the offensive line.
Yes.
Talk about, from your perspective, the challenge of a guy who's been an excellent player, but he's coming off injury, and he hasn't played left tackle in probably a decade. How hard will that be?
Here's the hardest thing for people to understand. Playing on the right side of the line and playing on the left side of the line is like trying to write left-handed if you're right-handed. Everything is in a flipped perspective, right? As far as what hand goes down, what foot goes back, your first step in the pass protection, your first step in the run game, everything is like trying to be left-handed. Now, I will say this. There's certain players that can do it. A lot of times you'll bring in a guy who played left tackle in college, and if you have a stud at left tackle, you move him to right tackle, right? We've seen that a lot. It's not uncommon to then move him back. Now, what I would say about him is he was one of the best top 5 offensive linemen you had, and you wanted to see him work somewhere. And he was able to do it at guard. It wasn't a situation where, oh, okay, let's just put him at guard. It was, no, we got to get him on the field. And so can he go back to, the other side of the ball? I mean, if they had any questions, he wouldn't be doing it. But it is a unique skill set to be able to switch like that. That's why you have your versatile linemen. You have those 1 or 2 linemen that can play all over the line. And people always say, well, why is he on the team? Because he can do something that a lot of offensive linemen in the league can do. Play center, guard, move around when somebody gets banged up. Like that utility guy you sit in the dugout that don't hardly ever play except when the stars get a day off. That's what your utility lineman is. He can play one of 3 positions, center, guard. So, yes, it can be done. They must think very highly of him to move him from right guard to left tackle. And
let's hope he's like Jose Ramirez and can bat both sides. Be ambidextrous. And be able to
speaking of that, hey, by the way, I was at a game where Carlos Baerga hit a home run from both sides of the plate in the same inning.
Yes, it was the first one ever to do it. He might still be the only one ever to do it. I just talked to Carlos about that not long ago. Leroy, let me ask you this, and I'm glad Bull went to the offensive line because really that's normally one of our strengths. I think this year, if you're putting things into categories, strength, weakness, question mark, to me, the offensive line is a question mark because there will be guys playing out of position and because there are injuries. The other reason, and probably the biggest reason to me, is Bill Callahan's not here anymore.
Wait, Jay, I got to cut you off for 1 second.
Okay.
Mary Kay just tweeted Jed Wills expected to practice today. First time since
All right,
the
never
injury.
mind the
that
last
literally
5 minutes
just
of the
came
show.
out 1 second ago. So
okay, that would be great news. All that being taken into consideration, and that is good news. But
Show that took a
Leroy,
turn.
what will the loss of Bill Callahan look like to the Browns fans when we turn the game on Sundays and watch the offensive line?
Sometimes the coach is the impetus behind how you play, right?
Yep.
The attitude that you bring. Not necessarily the techniques that you play with, but how you play with those techniques. Mm-hmm. If they have a guy there now that continues that message, then they'll be fine. But there's a reason why Bill Callahan was one of the best in the league at it.
Sure.
Every offensive line he was on got better. So it'll be interesting to see, and I would probably have a little question about that too. But I'm more concerned with, look, there's a lot of question marks after week 1. And if you're a team that hasn't had the success of other teams, your questions are a little bit louder, right? Teams that haven't been in the playoffs, I'm down here in Miami, they haven't won a playoff game in 20 plus years. So everything is a question. Mm-hmm. But if you look at what this team has done and the success they've had in a couple of years with just with circumstances that weren't very positive, they've still managed to win some games. So if you can get everybody healthy and you can have everybody just playing, it seems to be that they have the talent to be able to compete against anybody.
Good stuff, Leroy.
Yeah, great stuff. Leroy, we'll talk next week. Hopefully we'll have good things to talk about.
Who's going to be at the game? I'm going.
You're going to the Browns game Sunday?
Yeah.
When do you get into town?
I'm coming in Friday. And then I'm driving to, me and Metcalf driving over to, hey, can I just tell a story of some bad friends?
We love stories.
Yeah, please.
So, me and Metcalf have been talking trash about this game for 30 plus years.
Mm-hmm. He's talking about
It finally
He's talking about Texas,
Michigan.
Yes. It's happening. We text
So you're not
each other
coming
all
to
the time.
Cleveland for the game. You're coming to Michigan.
No.
Or you're going to Michigan.
coming here, then driving.
Then you're driving here.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I say, okay, Met, we going to fly in. I'm going to rent a car. Okay. Saturday morning, I'm going to pick you up. What hotel you staying in? We'll drive over, come back. Loser buys dinner,
Nice.
And then we'll go to the Browns game on Sunday.
Wonderful.
He goes, yeah, I'm flying into Michigan because I'm going to hang out with my boy. I say, well, I just meet you at the game. Well, we got to meet up beforehand because I'm going to have my luggage. I'm like, what the hell kind of friend are you? I'm not chasing you around Michigan.
Wow.
Right. So this all
thought
these
Met
players
was
we
better
had,
than that.
we had these players for 30 years. And then we get 3 days before we got to be there, and he say, yeah, I'm going to be in Michigan. I say, well, you better find me. Because, you're going to be the only dude walking, looking for a ticket with your luggage, because I'm not, no, absolutely not. It's like, no.
Hey.
I'm not driving around Michigan trying. What you looking for, sir? Metcalf. No.
G. Bush is about to defend it.
Hey, nah, bro.
You can't defend that.
I'm gonna tell you what, Leroy. There's a good saying in the hood, man. Hey, Avon Barksdale, A-string. That's what you get for playing all them away games. We don't play no away games. I gotta have the home field advantage. I'm not gonna be in Detroit walking around with no luggage. Nah, bro. I gotta have my itinerary.
Texas garb on.
Hey, we had. The itinerary has been set for 4 months.
Oh, he doing too much. He doing too much. His
And
boy.
then at the last minute, he said, I'm going to just meet up with you in Michigan.
Oh, nah.
I'm like, what?
Nah, that ain't it.
Nothing worse than the guy that wants to go to this game or a game and try to see everybody.
Yeah,
it's like
you
you can't see
Yeah, no,
everybody.
Yeah.
pick your priorities.
Either
Pick your priorities.
it's the SEAL Team 6. It's us two
Yep.
and 4 people.
Yeah, you try to see everyone. You don't give Leroy the time that he wants.
You can't have no caravan. You can't do it.
Nah, it ain't the time thing. It's the why are you flying into another state? We supposed to be riding in this game together.
Oh, fair enough.
So that
That
means
too.
that you know what's gonna happen. Here's what you call
No.
it. Hello, what's up? Hey Hoard, I'm just outside of Ann Arbor. Come meet me. That's what's gonna
That's
happen.
exactly
Hey,
what
before we let you go,
Facts.
You know it's
Facts.
gonna happen.
but before
Facts.
we let you go, on the confidence meter, 1 to 10, where are you that Michigan comes out unscathed?
Is Connor Stallions on the sideline or no?
He is no longer on the sidelines.
I'm gonna say this: anytime you get 15 guys drafted, that next year
Yeah,
is
here
gonna
it
be a
comes.
toss-up.
Yeah, that happens at Ohio State every year.
No, it doesn't. Stop.
Yes, it does.
Stop.
We just reload, brother.
Stop. Oh, okay. Well, look, we ain't got to that point yet. We just won a championship. When's the last time you won a championship? Hush. Anyway,
you better hold on to that championship tightly because it's about to get ripped out of your hands, and you know I'm
you
right.
said that last year.
Yeah, and it's closer to coming true than ever before.
If you keep saying it, eventually it'll come true. All I'm saying is this, okay? I had questions not because of them being able to reload, but you got a lot of high drafted players like at quarterback
Right.
and whatever.
Big
Y'all got
spots.
some big spots, right? Big spots. I thought that they would be able to run all over Fresno State,
And they
and
did
I was
not.
shocked.
Yeah.
Right, and so I don't want to take anything away from Fresno State. Maybe their offensive line, defensive line is awesome.
Yeah, tell yourself
But I'm gonna
that.
say this: Michigan, no matter what, can run the football on anybody, and to see them struggle running the football, whew, I got
so
questions.
you're 5,
And
right?
Sark,
So you're 5.
yeah, I would say 5. And
All right.
Sark, keep in mind, he brought the SEC over there, so they play a physical style.
Yeah, they do.
big up front.
Yep.
So yeah.
All right, Leroy, we'll see you next week, brother.
All right.
Later, Leroy.
All right, have a good one.
All
All
right.
right, later.
Thanks, Leroy. We're going to get back to the Jed Wills news in a sec, but first we have a new sponsor here on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, and that is PrizePicks. PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active users. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. PrizePicks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are safe, fast, and secure. And when your picks hit, you get your money in just 15 minutes. PrizePicks also invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect, and you can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. We talked about all those Deshaun Watson expectations in the first segment. Well, you can pick them on PrizePicks if you want. Download the PrizePicks app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNFL and get $50 instantly when you play just $5. That's promo code LOCKEDONNFL on PrizePicks to get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even have to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, guys, Jed Wills back at practice.
Yeah.
First time since he injured his knee in a full capacity. We're not sure what he's going to do yet. Mary Kay just tweeted out, team says Jed Wills will be back at practice. All players on the active roster are expected to participate in some capacity today. How big is that as the Browns get ready to take on Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, and a pretty good Dallas defensive front come Sunday?
I think it's really big. I mean, obviously, he's been the left tackle. Jack Conklin is switching positions. It is odd that they've had him working at left tackle if they thought Jed was going to be able to be back in time. And just because he's practicing this, today doesn't necessarily mean he's going to play on Sunday. It's been a weird offseason and training camp for Jed. We've had a lot of questions about it, but obviously it's a positive. The Browns dealt with so many injuries early last season. Right now, they're a very healthy team. I mean, who's hurt going into the season? Nobody, right?
No.
No one of significance, I don't think.
But
Right.
remember, I mean, this is as healthy as you're going to be. And,
Right,
and
but
most teams are.
Sure, but there are some teams that have already lost players,
Yes, they have.
and the Browns, at least going into the season, it could turn around in a week or two.
Sure. I mean,
no
but
Nick
right
Chubb,
now
but I
they're
mean,
very
we haven't-
healthy,
we
except
haven't
for Nick
lost any-
Chubb. Yeah,
haven't
I mean,
lost
they
anybody.
barely hit anymore at training camp.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you going to get hurt
Yeah.
these days? Unless it's a lower extremity like an ACL or something,
Yeah.
cutting. But like when you watch these, even the preseason games, it looks like the Pro Bowls used to look.
It's prolonging careers for sure.
Yeah.
Wish it was like that when I played.
Yeah, you might still you'd be around.
Not
So-
bitter about it
so-
or anything.
so-
I'm not.
In that case, you guys are in agreement that not playing in the preseason it was a wise thing.
No, I never said it was a wise thing. I
Look
just said
how healthy they are.
that's just an observation.
I'm just saying you like the health, right?
But you remember what we learned last year and the year before? The injuries the first couple of weeks were astronomical. We were seeing guys falling like flies. Why?
Yeah.
Because it was like training camp.
I guess we'll see what happens a couple of weeks in.
Yeah, we
You
will.
know, are the Browns still healthy then? Did they get a lot of injuries? You know, I mean, guys are playing less and less in the preseason, certainly across the board. The Browns starters played less than most guys, but most teams.
Yeah, I'm not embracing that fact. I was just stating it. That's the way it is.
You know this. Sometimes you go into training camp, and the objective in training camp is different from team to team. Some teams, you like, oh, listen, we didn't like how we tackled last year. I think we're a little softer. We're going to put pads on more. Some teams, if you got a veteran-laden squad and guys are injured, coming off surgery. Look how many people had surgery. Greg Newsome, Thomason. We know about Jed Wills. We know about Deshaun Watson, Chubb. All these dudes, and by the way, Amari Cooper was banged up at the end of the year. Like, you know, sometimes you would like to get to work, but the objective is, hey, look, if I need to get some of these dudes back, we might be a little rusty a little bit.
It's not like there were a lot of positions up for grabs.
No,
like this starting roster is set. Nope. Where was there a fight for a starting job?
G, let me ask you
and
this.
When was the last time that's happened?
Yeah,
G, let me ask you this real quick.
That's a major positive.
Okay.
It's true.
Even if Jed Wills, let's say, practices today, fine. At this point, this late in the week, would you want him to play Sunday, or would you feel more confident with Jack Conklin on the left side?
Well, they used to, and maybe Dustin can speak to this a little more. In the league, certain coaches got a rule where you got to
at least practice one day.
You got to at least practice, or they got to see you.
Yeah, I mean, like
be out there.
Even like if it's a Friday practice, because that's like a lighter kind of like. You're not in full pads,
and this is his
shells,
first practice
whatever,
since when?
Shorts.
Ever?
Like in a minute.
Yeah.
Like
a minute being like a year.
Although it's not like Jack Conklin's been practicing for that long. It's
I know.
It's only been a week.
Yeah, but we're talking about game shape, guys, and that's something you're not going to be able to do.
You play yourself into game shape.
Yeah,
there's no way
he hasn't practiced, he hasn't played. Yeah. I'm sure he's doing tons of conditioning with the training staff on the side, but that's not going to get you prepared to go into a ball game. Especially when I haven't checked the weather on Sunday, but we know it's going to be probably high 70s, 80s, maybe 90s. I don't know. It's hot.
No, it's going to be very cold.
It's a
68 is a high, 50 is a low.
Well, that's perfect then for Jed Wills to come back
potential
and
rain.
play.
I wonder, guys, if I know this is not common with offensive line, but you see it every once in a while. I wonder if the Browns would consider using both Jed and Jack Conklin.
I had talked about that last year.
Yeah, because neither is probably in. Kind
of spell each other a little bit.
So Dustin, I had brought this up as an idea last year.
James Hudson.
Last year we did it out of necessity. But I was watching games last year, and I kept seeing the new thing on the defensive line is fresh and rotate, right? We haven't seen an offensive adjustment to that. So when the game is in the balance and on the line, you've got defensive linemen that have played 60% of the snaps, and you've got offensive linemen that have played 100% of the snaps. And I brought up on the show last year, why haven't we gotten to the point where we rotate some of these offensive linemen in and out just to spell them, just to keep them as fresh as their defensive counterparts?
But I don't know. That's not really new, Jay, on the defensive line.
I think
that's been happening for a while.
It is. I think it's more so now than ever. A couple of years ago, the Eagles were really doing it. I would like to look at the number of snaps played by the defensive linemen last year compared to 5 years ago. I think it's down. Look at the Eagles. Look at the Browns. Jim Schwartz was clearly doing it.
But it's always been done to some degree.
Always.
On the offensive line, you've never done it.
But you know what? It's situational. So it's third down.
Yeah.
You're going to put your third long. You're putting your defensive pass rush in.
Right.
So why hasn't the offense evolved to where everything is specialized in sports?
Sure.
Look at baseball, for crying out loud. You got sixth inning guys now. Sixth inning relievers.
Your wide receivers, your tight ends, your running backs are in and out. Yeah.
So why isn't the offensive? I'm sure there are guys that are better at run block than pass block.
But that would give it away, maybe.
It would give it away, but the scoreboard gives it away. It's 3rd and 14. We're not running the ball.
I think when you'll probably say this is offensive line is more about being in unison and lockstep. Like
that's what everyone was saying when I posted it last year.
On offense, everything is predicated on I saw something and you saw something, and did we see the same thing? I saw this guy come inside, the tackle twisted around, but there's a linebacker right here. I got to know that the guard saw exactly what I saw so we can then be able to pick that up. And sometimes when you don't have that level of communication, if you notice, the three guys in the middle, Teller, Pochich, and Batonio, those guys are really, really locked in. They kind of know what to do. They know how to pass things off kind of like, without doing it, without thinking about it. But it's kind of difficult when you got tackles that haven't played because you're counting on them to pick the protection schemes up.
Yeah, it's more of a concert. Everybody's working
right.
in
I mean,
tandem with
like
one
I think your idea, like in theory, it's smart, it works, it makes a ton of sense. The problem is like left tackle specifically is such a difficult position to find one guy to put out there, let alone to have two guys you trust to go out there. And to Garrett's point, which is probably the best point about this whole thing, is that you play on a string. And you said, like a concert, it takes two to tango, right? I mean, if the left guard is all of a sudden you don't have Conklin in there and then Jed Wills is in there, but you know that Jed Wills tends to have a certain tendency that he does, and you're more comfortable with certain. The point is,
defensive linemen work individually, offensive linemen work as a
defensive
group.
line, you're like, see ball, get ball. Like, go get the quarterback, period.
React.
That's all you got to do. You react, you go. Like, that's it. As an offensive tackle, and Garrett, you played the offensive line, so you know better than anybody how difficult that is to develop the continuity, chemistry, whatever you want to call it there, especially between the left tackle or right tackle and your guard next to you.
Yeah.
Right.
Those two have to be so in sync and be able to communicate.
All right.
I think we
Shut you down. My bad.
No, listen. I throw stuff out
I
there.
think it's a
that
good
people
idea.
all the time.
I think it's a good idea.
I just wonder if we'll ever get to that because sports is more specialized today than anything.
Now, what they could
You have quarterbacks that are specialized based on situation.
What you may see is certain packages if you wanted to go heavy, right? If, say, for instance, if you wanted, you could. This is a wrinkle.
Well, we've always seen that bring in an extra tight end.
But they would bring in two tackles. You think it's a heavy run play, but then Kevin Stefanski runs play action with those guys because they're better pass blockers.
If Jed can go, I think they're going to play him. He has the experience at left tackle, so if he can go, I think he's going to go.
Kevin Stefanski was just quoted 1 second ago saying, Jed's expected to be a full participant in practice and, quote, has a chance to face the Cowboys on Sunday.
Oh, great. Okay,
I think he wouldn't say that if he didn't think he had a chance. I mean, for real. So that is very positive news. But it also kind of worries me a little bit, to be honest with you, because he hasn't played, and so I don't want it to be irresponsible for Kevin to put him out there. And I don't think Kevin would do that. He's such a smart coach, good coach, all those things. But I am a little again, he could look great in practice this week. They're not doing live drills in practice.
Well, he's going to get 2 days of practice.
Right, but it's not live. It's not live.
No, it's not live. And you said, well, he hasn't played. Hell, he hasn't practiced.
Yeah.
So, the last time he was involved in a collision was a year ago.
I just worry about the wind when you're an offensive lineman. That's why they make you do all that stuff, because when you get gassed and you get tired, now you jump off sides, you false start. Now you get holding penalties because your technique gets sloppy. Now you got legal hands to the face, and then you put on the fact that he's going to have to get on his horse out there. It is Michael Parsons. Leroy said he ain't set an edge, but Michael Parsons got the two-way go. So to put him out there, if he's not ready to go, I would rather play the guy that's more ready to go and bring him along slower, because I don't want him to re-injure something trying to go out there and play at a speed he's not ready to.
And the other thing too is it's not like we're talking about a stalwart left tackle that you could plug in and never think about again. This isn't Joe Thomas. Jed Wills has been the furthest thing from consistency since he's arrived. 1 week he looks like he's here forever, and the next week you think, are they going to waive this guy? So you don't know what you're going to get, and with Dallas, you really don't know what you're going to get. So it'd be a watch and win situation for Browns fans.
We're going to get to the Guardians in a sec, but I want to squeeze this one Browns topic in before we pivot to the Guardians and bring on a guest. And we're going to talk about this after a quick word from FanDuel, which is America's #1 sportsbook. And right now, we have a little something different for you guys. Starting now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket on YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with the YouTube TV base plan, you can watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime you want. Just visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to download America's #1 sportsbook. When he's healthy, Nick Chubb is the Browns' closer. You feel pretty darn confident with Nick Chubb and the ball in his hands if the Browns have a lead and have to run out the clock. But with Nick Chubb on the PUP list to start the season, I'm curious, and we'll go around the horn. Bull, we'll start with you and we'll end with Jay. Who is the Browns' quote-unquote closer? Who do you feel most confident in when the pressure is at its highest and the game's on the line and in balance? Who do you have the most confidence to come through, make the play, and steal the win for the Browns?
Well, I wouldn't say I have the most confidence in him, but the answer better be Deshaun Watson. It better be. Patrick Mahomes is the closer of the Chiefs. Joe Burrow is the closer of the Bengals. Lamar Jackson is the closer of the Ravens. The top quarterbacks, and that's the expectation for Deshaun Watson. I refuse to lower the bar. We can lower it for one game, but I'm not lowering the bar for the season. Deshaun Watson was brought in here to be a superstar. So that's the bar. He's got to be a superstar. So he's got to be the closer. He's the quarterback. We know the defense is good. We know he's got talent around him. Not everybody's healthy. Even Jed Wills is maybe going to be able to play. So he's got to be the closer. My confidence is not that, is not at an all-time high with him. But if he's not the closer, that's a problem.
Yeah, I was wondering, was the question one of projection? Like you wanted us to guess? Like, my prediction is when the season is over, we'll look back and say, or is it who it better be? Like
Bull nailed the who it better be. My question was...
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. Because I'm with you.
Yeah,
it better be Deshaun.
It damn well better be Deshaun.
Yeah.
Every team that is in the playoffs has a great quarterback. Show me the exception.
And the ones that don't lose in the first round.
They're done. So that has to be, and not just for this team, that's the blueprint for success in the NFL. How do you get to the playoffs and win? You have a great quarterback.
Y'all done forgot already?
Don't take the pressure off.
Y'all done forgot already.
Forgot what?
You done forgot. See, look, I got to remember.
Wait, before you go there, I'm going to answer the question.
Go ahead.
It'll be the defense. I don't believe that Deshaun's going to take that quantum leap to be the closer of the team. I'm with you. I expect him to be, and he better be. But if I'm projecting and predicting, I think the closer, in other words, the reason the Browns are winning, will continue to be what it was last year, the defense. And I know that's vague.
Yeah,
but
sure.
I've seen Myles Garrett make great plays in big spots. I have. Strip sack, but not like a TJ Watt. Okay? So he hasn't been that guy. And the other thing with him, when you look at his month-by-month trajectory as he goes on in the season, the only chink to his armor is he starts like a house on fire and he finishes like cooling embers. He's never hot at the end of the season when he needs to be. He does all of his work in September and October. They go down every single month. And to December, it's like, okay, this is not what a defensive MVP looks like. I need him to be that guy. I need the defense to be the closer and the reason we win games.
It's very
now what did we
It's
forget
very
about?
simple, and I forgot Garrett was next, but
No, you go.
No, you go.
You got it.
Like, it's so simple. The Browns either have the closer be Deshaun Watson, or it's Myles Garrett and Jim Schwartz. Period.
Yeah.
Because that's all. You have to have a bell cow on an identity, whatever you want to call it, and for this team. And most teams, it's your quarterback.
Sure.
Okay? But if your quarterback's sort of like just there, like not like the best, but not like above average,
sure.
Like serviceable, you can win games. You can win regular season games. Heck, you can win playoff games with an awesome defense. Now, can you win a Super Bowl? It's probably rare. It hasn't happened since what year, Bull? 85? You always said 85.
Well, no.
You always said 85. The Ravens in 2000. Whatever.
No. The Buccaneers team.
The Ravens with Flacco.
Point is, it doesn't happen very often.
No,
but
Flacco
he played like
at
a
an
Hall of
MVP
Famer
level.
in that postseason.
Yeah, he got paid.
Yeah.
Anyway, point being, it better be Myles or it better be Deshaun. And frankly, if you want to win a Super Bowl, it better be both.
That's
Great
true.
point.
Yeah.
Great point.
Hey, listen, man, you snuck in there. You got that one. That was nice, man. He came right in here and was like, he gave.
What did we forget about?
He gave the both, right? So I was going to go with Myles Garrett. And we just forgot how Aaron Donald single-handedly beat the Cincinnati Bengals by himself.
Well, he made the biggest plays in the game.
I mean, back to back, he's just you can't block him. And you can have a guy when you look at Chris Jones, a couple of years when he plays in those AFC Championship games, they can't block him. He came off, he didn't even play half the year and came out and got his money, came back and they couldn't block him. The answer here is when I think of a closer, I relate closing to defense, right? I relate closing to, hey, we might have not scored that many runs. We might be up 2-1, and we bringing you in, there's a couple of guys on. But I need you to go ahead and strike these dudes out and sit them on the bench. It's the same way with the defense. When you at a game, you might not be able to get the points. You might not even been able to do what you needed to do, right? You may have a 3-point or a 2-point lead, and I need you to stop a team from going 80 yards. And the thing about it is, we haven't yet to see people do that against Patrick Mahomes. To be truthful, when you watch Patrick Mahomes and some of these great quarterbacks, they go right down the field and score. When then Patrick Mahomes gets the football, you just know exactly what it is.
You do. You really do.
It's just done. But the great teams and the great closers, and that's why when they ask, can Myles Garrett get to the next level? My thing is this. Yes, Myles Garrett can get to another level. He can wreak havoc on the run game, and he can get those vital turnovers when you need one, right? You know, I've seen Von Miller do it a few times. When he needed to make a play, with the Denver Broncos and Peyton Manning was past his prime, and they was playing a prime Cam Newton. What did he do? Von Miller took over the game and said, you know what, I'm just going to take the ball from you.
Have we seen that, though, from J.J. Watt does it? I know that you can point to specific examples where Myles has done it, but it's not his calling card like it is when it's 3rd and 4 and we've got the ball and J.J. Watt's on the other side. I've got a really bad feeling that he's going to be involved and make a play. And it seems like more often than not he does.
Well, you got to take it. Listen, Highsmith is a really good player. Hayward to me, I think Hayward is a Hall of Famer. Just for me, from watching him play, he don't get a lot of sacks, but he's that good. And then you got Watt. I think and we've been trying to find the holy grail for years, and that is give me somebody on the opposite side of Myles Garrett. We tried to deal with Olivier Vernon. We thought Emmanuel Ogbah was that. We had Clowney. We got Zadarius Smith. We've been trying to get that other guy. And I think one of the things that Myles Garrett is burdened with is, dude, it's triple team. It's attrition. Like, you know, once you got 3 or 4 bodies on you for a whole 4, 5, 6 months, you just wear down a little bit. I think, you know, Jim Schwartz this year could do a little bit better job of moving them around. And plus, I need production from other people. I need that production.
Myles Garrett gets double and triple teamed way more than TJ Watt does.
Just
more than anybody in the league.
Right, but especially compared, like Micah Parsons, it's not that big a gap. But him compared to Watt is huge, and that's why Watt tends to put up slightly better traditional stats.
And probably in big spots, too.
If they got double-teamed the same amount, I think Myles Garrett would have way better traditional stats, in my opinion.
I think, but I think to put a bow on it, the biggest thing Dustin said, if you want to win a Super Bowl, you have both.
You do.
You got to have two things at the same time. Both things could be equal. You got to have somebody stopping a guy like Patrick Mahomes, but you can't be playing around getting 15 points. Nah, you need to come out thinking. That's why I'm consistent with it. Deshaun, I need my 4,500, dog. You know what I'm talking about. We need both of those guys to win a Super Bowl.
Love it. Let's talk a little Guardians. Before we do that, a reminder that tonight at 7 o'clock, the first ever Ultimate Buckeye Show with Dustin and Tyvis airs on the YouTube channel. It has been recorded. It is set to premiere at 7 p.m., and despite a little technical issues this morning, it is up and ready to rock. So make sure you guys tune in at 7 o'clock for the first ever.
That's new, right?
Weekly.
It is.
Ultimate Buckeye Show.
First ever.
Just a couple of national champions just talking
There you
ball.
go. The last 2 championship teams.
See, I slid that in there. It was smooth.
And there was no cheating, unlike with Michigan.
That's exactly right.
Big win for the Guards yesterday, Bo.
Yes.
Another one.
It certainly was. And you know, I think deservedly so. I'm going to pat myself on the back. I said last week when the Guardians salvaged the final game of the series against the Royals, when they were down 5-2 in the 7th inning, and they were tied for first, and the Royals had the tiebreaker. So the Royals, if they had held on, would have been up a game with the tiebreaker.
Yep.
The Guardians came back and won that game. I said that's a season-defining win. It's a season-saving win, and it has been all Guardians since then. The Twins have done nothing. The Royals have not won a game since then.
No.
They've barely scored.
And Salvi
They've
Perez,
been
who was
terrible.
hitting 900 against the Guardians in the series, or whatever, he was actually hit, I think, 700 in the series.
Yeah.
He's like 2 for 25.
They're all ice cold in their lineup.
And they got a bad blow with the injury. I think that took the wind out of their
Pasquantino
sails.
injury is their third best hitter.
It took the wind out of their sails. They don't look like the same group that was here last week.
They haven't scored at all since that game. And I'll tell you something else. in Lucas Urseg, their closer, got hurt too. And another thing, I also said, how many weeks I was saying call up Kyle Manzardo.
And
he's
look
got
what he's done.
5 hits in 3 games. He's got 2 home runs. He's looked great so far.
Yep.
A lot of times these top prospects, they come up, they're overwhelmed, they struggle a little bit. You know, we talked yesterday, I think, about like when NFL rookies play before they're ready. Well, sometimes that happens in baseball too. Sure. A guy comes up, it's his first experience. I don't know where to take my bags. I don't know where to go in this clubhouse. And he's come back up. He's clearly way more relaxed. He's playing much better. So let me give you a third thing that I'm going to be right about if they do it. Enough with Tyler Freeman. He is bringing nothing to the table whatsoever. Send his ass to the minors. He's not even playing really.
No, I feel like they're done with that.
Yeah, bring up George Valera.
Yeah.
Valera can hit righties. He's another bat that can hit righties. And let's go. Valera's been he has like 1,000 AAA at bats.
Yeah,
what
I
else
know,
does
it
he
is
need
time.
to do down there?
He's been next forever.
Yeah, let's
we
go.
have to see him. The one thing that I'm going to do, and I was critical of the Guardians 2 weeks ago on these pitching moves, I thought Boyd was a big question mark to me.
Huge. It's panned out so far, big time.
I didn't know. But my God, Cobb on Sunday had front of the rotation stuff.
He was nasty.
Took a perfect game into the 7th inning. I'm glad he gave up 2 hits to start the inning because
he got him right out of there.
He was putting Vogt in a really difficult situation.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had a said pitch count. I would have said no more than 80 to 85.
Right, he was right there.
I mean, hell, it's his 3rd start in a year.
Yeah.
And he was there, but you can't pull a guy with a perfect game.
Not with a perfect game.
And so, Steven, I think he would have done the right thing and pulled him after the 7th inning had he gotten through the 7th. And why not go for the combined perfect game? I would trust Chase to get 3 up, 3 down, and I would expect
Class A, you mean.
Smith and Class
A, yeah.
I would think that they might be able to do it and make a little history with a combined perfect game.
Right.
Why not?
But
he got saved. But to me, the future of the last 5 starts for the Guardians, their pitchers have given quality starts.
Yeah, and listen.
1 run, couple of hits, each of them.
And Cobb and Boyd have been great, but the key with this rotation is Bybee and Williams. Those guys got to. I know they're young. I know they're not that experienced, but they're the most talented pitchers the Guardians have. They're both high-level, front-of-the-rotation talents, and Bybee has had a better year than Williams, who missed some time, but they've both been inconsistent of late, Bybee. Both of them in their last starts, in these 2 starts against Kansas City. Huge games.
Yep.
Both pitched great. That was big. They need to keep this rolling. And with Manzardo in the lineup and Lane Thomas finally hitting, and remember, he's got a track record, so it's not out of nowhere for Lane Thomas. He's been a really good player. I know those numbers look awful, but he's been good the last. He hit that big home run. Was it Monday? I'm lost. Yeah, Monday.
Whatever the second was. Yeah, Monday.
Yeah. Hit the big home run Monday to give him the lead. If Lane Thomas can get back to the player he was. In Washington the last 2 years.
Man, you just jumped back 20
years.
Yeah,
right. And if Kyle Manzardo's the real deal, the lineup's all of a sudden a lot deeper. That makes a huge difference.
Well, for me, it's in the playoffs, it's about pitching. And suddenly you look at Cobb and Boyd, who have given great quality starts.
Yeah.
Bybee I was starting to get shaky on, but I think Bybee had, if you're going to say that the win Wednesday of last week against the Royals was a kind of a season-defining win, and I agree with you, I think that last night in the 6th inning,
that was huge
for Tanner Bybee. It was one of those innings that he'll fall back on in October.
Yeah.
He had the bases loaded with nobody out. He'd walked 2 guys after being up 0-2 on the second walk.
Yeah.
He gets a hard line drive out to left. The runner, instead of tagging and coming home, it was Pham at third, slipped, couldn't come.
Yeah.
Then they got the fly out to center, and the run scored. So I thought, well, if you can get out of this with 1 run.
Yeah.
Then he gets a couple of, I think he got another strikeout after that.
Yeah.
But I liked his moxie coming off the mound. His energy and his fire. That's a bulldog. I need some Oral Hershiser in all of my pitchers. And Tanner Bybee displayed that yesterday in the 6th inning. And now I think going into the playoffs with the way guys are pitching, and also remember this I don't think we can discount this as happening. There is a guy in the minor leagues that the Guardians have with playoff experience that once upon a time was the second choice coming into the season to be the Cy Young.
Miles Straw? No, I'm playing with you. Go ahead.
Don't even go there. No.
McKenzie?
Why not? We know he can do it. He's been down there working on his control.
Yeah, I don't know why they haven't tried him in the pen. I
don't either, and I
think he could be an effective one-inning pitcher for the rest of this year.
You've been calling that for like 2 years.
No, but especially since he hasn't been himself.
Yeah.
Like, if it changes a pitcher's mindset. I remember
Yeah.
Smoltz when he went from starter to reliever, and
Yeah.
Eckersley made similar comments. When you get ready to start a game, you're thinking of it as, I want to get 27 outs. And that's a daunting task and sometimes can overwhelm you. When you're coming in a seventh inning situation, you got to get 3 outs. It changes the playing field.
Yeah.
My hope is they bring up Tristan sometime in September and they give him an opportunity to pitch out of the pen for the last 2 weeks of the season. Let's see how he handles that role. He could be a secret weapon. This guy last year coming into the season was the second pick to be the Cy Young. So why not?
Many moons ago, one Mr. Carlos Carrasco was struggling as a starting pitcher early in his Guardians, at the time Indians, career.
Yep.
He was a mess.
And
he had a 6 ERA. They went to the bullpen. He spent 3/4 of a season there. He was lights out, and he was he's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but he was an excellent starter the rest of his career until the last couple of years.
I agree.
I think the same thing could happen. Get McKenzie in the pen, even start him next year in the pen. Let him build up that confidence again. I think he's lacking for confidence because he's been beat around so much of late.
I feel like you and I are playing tennis and they're watching.
Yeah.
We're
back and forth.
Listen, it was volleying and serving.
I'm just excited the way they bounced
I'm
back.
very excited.
It's playing
your
really
tennis
well.
terms, you
They're
know?
going to win the division. I know you're big with jinxes and stuff. I don't want to jinx it, but that twist.
There's 23 games left.
Yeah, you got the Dodgers coming up after this Royals game.
That's not going to be
That's
easy.
going to be a tough series. Then you got to take care of business with the White Sox.
Yep.
The White Sox are going to break the record
See,
for
Grady
the worst
got
team
thrown
ever.
out last night.
I did see that.
And by the way, I thought that was one of the worst umpiring jobs I've ever seen.
Did you see the play where the White Sox players collided?
I did. And the call on it was the White Sox are full-on White Soxing right now.
It is crazy. They're 5-45 in their last 50 games, I think.
That is correct.
I mean, that's just impossible.
So
that's happening.
So I pulled my abacus out here, and it says right here, according to ESPN, the Guardians have a 99% chance of making the playoffs as of today.
Which is weird because they have the same record as the Orioles, and they've given the Orioles a 100% chance to make the playoffs.
They have 88% chance to clinch the division and 76% chance to clinch a bye. Now, my question is, do the Guardians need a bye? And I say yes. I want that bye in the worst way. I do not want
They
to play
don't need one, but they want one.
I don't want to play a first-round game. I don't
Everyone needs a bye.
Yeah,
everyone needs a bye.
I'll take that bye.
I mean,
rest up.
Some teams can handle it not having a bye, but
you get
want
into
a
rest
bye.
versus rust, and in baseball, that is very real,
yeah.
especially with hitters. You take them out of their rhythm.
Yep.
I think it would be good to have a bye. The most important thing, though, in terms of seeding for the Guardians is they're way better at home.
They are.
And so you want to be home, especially if you have to play the Yankees.
Right.
Because I got no interest in having to win a game in Yankee Stadium to win a series.
Because we know what Yankee fans will do to our second best hitter,
big bad
Josh
Yankees.
Naylor.
Yeah.
That's how they
you don't want to deal with that.
Yeah.
Now, the Yankees aren't playing well right now, which is good.
What's amazing, Bull, is 1 week ago today, the Royals were officially in first place.
They were, yes.
Because the two teams were tied.
Yep.
And they had the season series win to break the tie. 1 week later, they're 5.5 games out.
What a turnaround. Both teams. The Royals were like this, the Guardians were like this, and now it's just
completely
flipped.
switched.
And the Twins are 4.5 back 4 in the loss column. Guardians have the tiebreaker with the Twins. They do have a
thankfully.
big 4-game series coming up.
Big.
At home. By the way,
That will define their season.
so the Guardians play at Kansas City. I'm sorry, one more game. Yeah, one more game in Kansas City. Then at that Tampa series is at home, Mike.
Yeah, it says we're at Tampa. That's when we come home.
We
next
will.
week.
We will fix that.
So
We will fix that.
you said they have how many games left? I can't remember.
23.
So 23.
The magic number, even though I tend to not do that.
Yeah.
But if you're 4.5 out.
Yeah.
With 23 to game, 23 to play, I think the magic number would be 18.
I think so. I don't know. Math is not my strong suit.
Because they have the tiebreaker with Minnesota, a tie would win it. So,
and here's the good news, too. They have these 7 more games on this road trip, 1 with Kansas City, 3 San Diego, 3 Chicago. After that, all but 3 games at home the rest of the season.
Which is good.
As
Yeah,
of today, the wild card round would be the number 6 seed Royals at the Astros. The number 5 seed would be the Twins at the Yankees. And then the ALDS will be the winner of the Royals and Astros versus the Guardians, who are currently the 2 seed. And the winner between the Twins and the Yankees will play the Orioles. This is according to ESPN.
All that is subject to change because there's a half game difference between the Yankees in the 1
Yes.
and currently the Guardians who are in the 2.
And there's not, even between Minnesota and Kansas City for the second
you know
wild
who's
card.
not out of it is Detroit.
They're not. The AL. What's funny about the AL Central is the AL Central is the only division in baseball with 4 teams over 500, and yet as a division they're 20 games under 500.
Because the White Sox. So a lot of people look at that and say, well, the reason everybody in the Central's having a great year is because they got 12 games or whatever the
but that's
number is
not
against
true.
the
I don't
White
buy
Sox.
that. And the Guardians
Well, it
actually
helps.
do not have a good record. They're 500 against the White Sox.
Which is stunning to me.
Well,
in
what do
the
you think
hell
of
does
tonight's
that happen?
pitching matchup for the Guardians? We got Lively versus Lugo. I know the last time Lugo pitched
Yeah.
against Cleveland, he threw a gem.
Yeah,
He did.
Seth Lugo's
He's
had a
tough.
tremendous season. I've always
tough.
liked him when he was on the Mets. They never really gave him a chance to start. He's going to finish top 10, maybe top 5, top 5 for Cy Young. It's an advantage for Kansas City, but not by a lot because Lively's pitched well. And just right now, the Guardians' bats are hot, and the Royals' bats are ice cold. So
I wish this was an afternoon game. It's getaway day.
Let's go.
I would.
I know they're out to L.A. to watch the magnificence that is Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
You think he's
They're
going
all-
to I think he's going to get 50-50, first player ever.
I do too. By the way,
Yeah.
Hosey has a
Has
potential
40-40.
to go 42-42.
He does,
which
all
no one's
the
ever
Ota-
done before.
Well, until Ohtani.
And now it would be twice in one season.
Yeah, he has
after
a
never
chance.
happening. By the way,
Yeah.
I said this yesterday on Channel 3, and I just want to reiterate this really quickly.
Yeah.
I don't think Cleveland properly appreciates Jose Ramirez. And the reason I say that is when the big stat the last week has been the Guardians have 2 guys with 100 ribs for the second time since 2018.
Right.
Jose Ramirez was the other guy in that tandem with, I think, Encarnacion in 2018. Fast forward 6 years, he's still here doing that. The reason he needs a statue on the day he retires, they need to unveil that statue on his last day. This man did what no one in the 90s did. We had all of those power hitters here. Tomey, Bell, Ramirez. That 90s lineup was murderer's row.
Yeah.
They all took the money and ran. And when Jose Ramirez had a chance to do that, and by most reports, he left $100 million
easy.
on the table from the Blue Jays. He said, no, you know what? I like it here. I like living here. I like playing here. I'm going to stay here. He has been the one constant. Go back and look at all these playoff teams that we've had and look at the starting pitchers. And it really drives home how long he's been here.
Yeah.
And the fact that he decided to choose us after we initially chose him speaks volumes for the kind of guy he is. And here he is. He's been in the league over a decade. Yesterday, I'm watching the game. I was disappointed that New York didn't overturn that call on the slide. That slide into second base, most of us wouldn't be able to execute if it was done in super slow motion. He comes in head first, and now he's got to time the throw and the swipe.
Yeah.
Without taking his eyes off the bag, he feels the ball and the glove and the tag coming and pulls his arms back. And I thought they missed the tag.
That's a tough thing to do. I thought
And
they
he
did
got
too.
both of his arms back in.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny because during the broadcast they said that might, if they overturn this is going to be one of the best slides in Major League Baseball history. And it wouldn't have been a hyperbole. And then earlier in the game, or it might have been later in the game, he beats out what would have been the back end of a double play.
Yeah.
And then ends up scoring, which at the time was a huge run.
Yeah.
He's doing he's not a 5-tool player. I think he's a 6-tool player.
Well,
because he does everything so well.
everything off the charts.
I
And
would
he's a
argue.
leader and
I would argue you never give back the money. That's why he. Is,
I don't blame the other players for taking the money.
never-
I don't blame
you
them.
never
But
give back
I don't
bread.
blame them. I want to honor and recognize
should-
the guy
yes.
that didn't. That's
Yeah.
it. I don't look. At the time,
You're not
I didn't
begrudging the other players for taking money. You're just saying,
No,
hey,
exactly right.
This guy was number one. He
could have
gave
done
us a
what
hometown
everybody-
discount.
Who
He
does
did.
that?
Big time. Yeah, nobody.
And on top of that, the guy has been Unbelievable.
Amazing.
The model of consistency probably for any Cleveland athlete we've ever seen in my lifetime.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Outside LeBron James.
You're right, but LeBron took the money. LeBron left.
Now,
And what's crazy is Jose Ramirez wants to win. He's watched Frankie Lindor leave. He's going to probably watch Shane Bieber leave. He's watched a lot of guys leave. What's incredible to me is he's probably the most supremely confident player I've ever seen. Just watch him walk back to home plate after he strikes out. He's still got the swagger. He doesn't care.
Look at how pitchers approach him. I mean, they're scared to death
Pitchers
when
will
he comes
easily
up.
work around him. That's with a power bat behind him. They don't care. And I'm not begrudging.
He scares me at home, the swagger he has.
Was the last holdout. Ramirez went when he could. Bell went when he could. I don't begrudge those guys at all. It's a small window, and that money has to be forever. I'm fine with that. But what Jose Ramirez did, I think, has gone underappreciated in Cleveland. This guy, to quote our owner, Dolan, when talking about Frankie Lindor, hey, enjoy Frankie while you got him. I want Guardians fans to recognize what we have, a generational player, and appreciate him. And I hope that the Guardians, on his last day in uniform, unveil a statue for him in our little statue monument plaza.
I would rather them take that money they was going to give him and give me 2 pictures instead of the statue.
Final quick thought is the team has owed it to him to spend more money, which they haven't done.
Facts.
And they said they were going to, by the way.
And he needs 2 or 3 more years at this level or close to it, and then he's in the Hall of Fame, I think.
Oh, Hall of Fame for sure.
Yeah, I don't think he's there yet.
Not yet, he's not.
But he's getting
a couple
close.
more years. But he's in the Guardians Hall of Fame.
Oh, yes, certainly.
And because of his selflessness, and by the way, he's not just your best player, he plays the hardest. And he sets the tone for everyone else.
doubt.
That's how
Every
a team
day.
overachieves.
Every day.
The other 24 guys look around and say, Jesus, we can't slack. This guy's the best player, and he runs everything out.
And look what he did to the White Sox. He punched Tim Anderson in the face. They've never been the same.
He knocked Tim Anderson into retirement.
Tim Anderson ain't even playing.
And that's a fact. Tim Anderson is out of baseball, and if you look at his career arc, he was here, and now he's gone. And it all goes back to the punch.
McNuggets is giving us that P.D. Pop.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
He's
Let's
like
get back to the
cowboy
NFL.
back there with the
Wrap
it up, B.
Speaking of Cowboys, we are bringing on a Cowboys guest now. As always, we have a post-game show. It is back and better than ever this year. We got some exciting new things for you to myself. It is G. Bush. It is Earl the Pearl coming at you live on the 2-minute warning of Week 1 Cowboys-Browns. We'll be there, and hopefully you guys join us on YouTube for a 2-screen viewing experience at the end of the game. And with that, let's welcome on Nick Eatman. He covers the Dallas Cowboys or DallasCowboys.com. Is exciting. Me and Nick have gone back a couple of years now. Nick, thanks for joining us here on the Ultimate Cleveland Show.
Yeah.
Not the Ultimate Dallas Show. We're here in Cleveland now. And appreciate you taking a few minutes to help us preview this primetime America's Game of the Week 1 matchup.
Well, you guys are bringing the heat when it comes to baseball. I mean, it's football season started. I can't even imagine what I'm about to get into for this.
Welcome into the Lions Den, brother. Well, we bring heat. We don't leave it. We leave nothing on the table, Nick.
Yeah, Nick, I'm curious. There's because obviously the Cowboys have a big fan base around the country, and I have a number of friends, where I grew up in New York who are Cowboy fans, and the Cowboy fans that I know from New York. I don't know Cowboy fans from Dallas. The Cowboy fans I know from New York are the worst fans. They're bandwagon fans. When the team's good, they're into it. When they're not good, they're not. And all of them crap all over Dak Prescott. I will never understand this. I think Dak Prescott is the most underrated, underappreciated quarterback in the entire NFL.
Wow.
I'd take him here in a minute. I know I'm not saying he's been perfect in the playoffs. He hasn't. He's had his bad games. But I don't blame him solely for the playoffs. Every year that he's been there. This guy's been a top 10 quarterback consistently, and I don't get it. Is this a minority? Am I hitting a minority of fans? Or in general, do Cowboys fans crap all over Dak Prescott?
Well, yes, I think it's very similar to what Tony Romo felt as well. The difference is that people like to compare him to other quarterbacks in the league. And Cowboy fans, as spoiled as they might have been back in the day, he's not Roger Staubach and he's not Troy Aikman. And that's the comparison that he gets. The Cowboy fans, to me, are no different than maybe you would say Yankees or Lakers or whatever, because you're not just going up against right now. You're going up against history, and that's unfair to the players, but that's just the reality, and that's where it comes from, because the standard is so high, whether they're good enough to reach it or not. That's the standard, and that's what makes Cowboy fans, even some of them, very frustrating, because they expect things that really aren't reality sometimes.
I would say, though, that, like, not that I'm telling you something you don't know, but, like, those Cowboy teams, especially with Aikman, I mean, come on, they were so talented. They were way more talented than any of these Cowboy teams. I mean, these Cowboy teams are talented, but that was just absurd.
They were Hall of Fame good.
The Herschel Walker trade is the greatest trade in the history of sports, baby.
From the Cowboys' perspective,
sure.
Maybe Minnesota disagrees. No, but I think that's the point. Is that's what you're right. They can't compare to that, and so every year the number goes up. It's 29 years since the Cowboys, 28 years since the Cowboys made it to a Super Bowl. I mean, that's not this team's problem. That's not McCarthy's problem. It's not Dak's problem. But that's where it's the reality is. So every time they don't make it, that number keeps getting attached to it. That's my point, is that they're chasing ghosts from the past. That it's not really up to them. So when the Cowboy fans say, hey, Dak is not this or this, it's because I think the expectations are very high, probably unrealistic at times. But, I mean, I still think this is a very good team. And it'll be competitive all year long. Every game is going to be a fight, including this one coming up Sunday.
Nick, your running back room's interesting because you got Dalvin Cook in there. You've got Zeke Elliott in there. The problem is it's not 2018, right?
Yeah, that would have been a great running back room 8 years ago.
And you got this undrafted kid who's maybe the best of the bunch, right? So what do we expect on Sunday from the Cowboys rushing attack?
I think that, I mean, interesting is putting it nicely because it depends on who you ask, and I think you're referring to maybe Rico Dowdle as the other. Yeah.
Yep.
There's people that think he's the most explosive back of the group. Then there's some that, like, you got to put Zeke in there because he'll get short yardage. He'll do pass protection, which is obviously important. Dalvin Cook is a name that people know. And then Deuce Vaughn's a guy that everyone just thinks is going to light up the world. And so all of them create like a weird dynamic. I'm not even sure if we'll see Dalvin Cook play. He's on the practice squad. They could elevate him. But I think you're going to see a heavy dose of Zeke in this game with splashes of Rico Dowdle. And I would imagine by the end of this game, people are going to say, Rico Dowdle. Just like every team in the league, it seems like the backup running back's always exciting, always the fan favorite, and probably by week 2 or 3, you'll be hearing people say Rico should play more. That's just the nature of it.
When you look at it, CeeDee Lamb held out a little bit. Hasn't been on the field, practice field, all that much in the preseason. Are you a little worried about the conditioning, or are you worried about him getting it? I mean, he's almost got 200 targets. Obviously, he's a big part of the game plan offensively. Where is he at right now in terms of just him getting back into the swing of things?
Well, Mike McCarthy said it this week that he's on a pitch count, and I think he was referring to practice as far as just getting him back into things. He might be limited in the game Sunday of what they're used to, but I don't think you're going to notice a huge difference. There might be a couple snaps here and there in the series where he doesn't get as much targets or is maybe not even in the game. But I don't think it'll be a drastic, like 50% less. I think it'll be like 80% less of what we've seen from him. And so therefore, he's going to be limited. They're going to be smart about it, but he says he's ready to go, but he also said he wants to get hit in practice a little bit. Not bumps was the word, not hit, but bumped a little bit. I mean, yeah. If there's any receiver that needs a red jersey as well, it would be CeeDee Lamb. So let's don't hit anyone, but I think bump a little bit just to kind of get that those football jitters out of the way.
Hey, Nick, I can't confirm this, but I have heard reports that Myles Garrett is wearing a bib all week over at Berea, because he's just salivating over the idea of going up against a rookie left tackle. What are we going to see in that matchup?
Yeah, well, you'll see a lot of people on the Cowboys sideline praying every time that happens. And if he's not wearing the bib, is Amari Cooper also wearing it as he's going up against Carson? Like, holy, and anybody that's right there over the ball on Cooper Beebe. So it's not just those. It's not just Tyler Guyton, but that's the big one because of Myles Garrett. But as I keep saying, and I love Terrence Steele, the Cowboys' right tackle. This is his 5th year. But let's be honest. If Myles Garrett goes to that side and goes up against Terrence Steele, it's not like, oh, the Cowboys are good because he's a 5-year vet. Every tackle in the league is going to have his problems with him, and he's just the problem with trying to block him is you've got speed rushers and then you've got bull rushers and then you got both. I mean, like, he's both. He can do everything. The thing about Guyton, what I like, this is encouraging. Let's don't spin this any other way. But when he went up against Micah Parsons, and I'll be honest, Micah Parsons is not Garrett as far as their body type and all that. But when he went up against Micah Parsons, he actually fared pretty well in practice.
Wow.
And is Micah coming by? Micah hears everything. I don't want to stir it up there. But his length. Talk about Guyton, as you see there. His length helps him. Like any fighter, if you've got reach, you at least can keep them off you. He's got a combination of feet and arms that help him. But he's going to get bull rushed right in the chest early on, and he's going to have to figure that out. He will not get help every snap. He'll get some, but he's going to have to grow up, and it'll be hold your breath. But he did okay. I mean, he actually did well in the short time against Max Crosby in the preseason, and some against Parsons. But we all know this is a different beast over there with Myles Garrett.
Nick, we were just talking before how the Browns are very healthy heading into the season. Cowboys with a big injury with Bland in the secondary. What is the Cowboys' game plan to make up for that injury there?
Well, the Kalen Carson is a 5th-round pick from Wake Forest, and he's had a nice camp. He reminds a lot of people of Deron Bland, who a 5th-round pick from Fresno State, and so he's supposed to be nervous. He's supposed to have these jitters. Maybe he will. But he's one of those guys, like most good cornerbacks, they kind of think they can cover everybody, everything, which gets them in trouble at times. But Carson doesn't lack any confidence. He's wearing 21 now. He moved to 21. He'll be, he's ready, and he that's what he says at least. He says he's ready to go. But I like the way he makes plays on the ball. So that's their plan. That's how they're going to replace Deron Bland on the outside is by Carson. Trayvon Diggs, this is his first game since September with an ACL injury. So we'll see if he's 100%. But Amari Cooper to me is one of the best, if not the best, route runner in all of football, and he will make them work. And so it is going to be a tough matchup for those cornerbacks against the Browns for sure.
You would think that Amari would really like to come out and show out against his old team. Nick, in some ways, the Browns and the Cowboys seasons were similar last year. Certainly their path to the playoff was different. The Browns needed 5 quarterbacks. Dak had a great regular season. But the way things came to an end, it was like the music just came to a screeching halt with a disappointing loss in games that they were really never in. What is Dallas's mindset, having gone through the offseason, having to hear all about the playoff disappointment? Where are they as an organization coming into Cleveland on Sunday?
Yeah, that's a good point because and I don't know what the Houston-Cleveland game as far as the expectations of that. I know it was on the road, so probably weren't favored. But the Cowboys were favored to beat the Packers, and they got smashed before halftime, and that was probably one of the worst losses in the history of the franchise, in my opinion, because of the expectations of the season, how it ended. They were never in it. To answer your question, what they've learned, I think, in the last 2 or 3 playoff losses is I don't know if you could say baseball's different, hockey's different. Playoff football is different, just like some of those other sports. And the difference is you better run the football and you better stop the run. And the Packers, they snuck into the playoffs, but they kicked their ass. I mean, up and down the field. I hope I can say that, but I mean that's what happened. That's putting it nicely. And the Cowboys, you look at who they've signed. They've added big guys up front. They've helped their linebackers. They've got kind of some bigger guys in the center position. So on both sides of the trenches, they are kind of prepared for big boy football in the playoffs. But as we all know, you have to get there, and nothing's a given.
Here locally, sometimes you can get in the echo chamber a little bit. You're so focused on, covering your team. I'm always interested in seeing what the national perspective is They're down in Dallas. What is the general consensus of the Browns, and what type of team are they, or strengths, weaknesses, and things like that?
Yeah, a team that is. It doesn't matter what they do on the road because that's not where the game is. What matters is when the game is played in Cleveland, it is a fight. It is like you would expect to go into a real life dog pound. That's what it feels like. Like you got to strap it up and get ready to go because they're going to hit you in the face. And that's, I mean, welcome to the NFL because for some of these rookies because that's the mindset. They people know that the Cowboys couldn't be on the field. They haven't proven they could stay with the 49ers right now. That's their team. Everyone's kind of got their benchmark. Cowboys, they cannot beat the 49ers right now. And a couple of weeks after they got beat, Cleveland went in there and handled them at home. And so, and that people notice that. People see that. It's going to be a physical game on both sides. They like to run the ball. They play really well at home. And they've got dynamic players at their position. Guys like Cooper, guys like Myles Garrett, and Deshaun Watson too. I mean, Watson's only played the Cowboys once when he was with Houston, but he won the game, and so that's that's going to just be a tough matchup. As literally Mike McCarthy just walked by, like as we speak, just walked by. So it's going to be a good game. It'll be a lot of fun.
Well, Nick,
it's going to be fun, but.
If you get a chance to put a bug in Mike's ear, tell him the guys at the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show think it would be a great idea to maybe give a shot at center to Zeke. Let him, play center just a couple times. I know that his track record is one play and it wasn't great, but we would love to see that on Sunday.
Wasn't great. Boy, you're the nicest person in the world.
I love Zeke. I love Zeke, so I had to go soft.
When he gets the ball in this game, there's going to be a big sigh of relief from everyone because we will all know that his last play for the Cowboys will not be that.
Yes, you're right.
That won't be his lasting memory. So when he gets one carry, at least we can exhale a little bit and be like, all right, well, at least his career is not going to go down at center.
Yeah. But it happened, and it's on YouTube, and it will live forever. But you're right, it won't be his defining moment for sure. All right, hey, listen, enjoy the game. I hope Cleveland treats you well, and thanks for coming on. We appreciate it.
I love going to Cleveland. It's a lot of fun. Every time I go to the Hall of Fame, it's awesome to go there. It's a great town. We always have a good time, so it should be a lot of fun. You guys have a great show, so I appreciate being
Thank you, brother.
Thanks.
They've got some great new exhibits at the Rock Hall, too. You're going to love it. All right, I hated that for Zeke, watching him with that play when he lined up at center.
So embarrassing.
Oh, my God.
I blame the people that
wasn't his
drew it
fault.
up.
Don't do that.
Who in that? That's like something you draw up in the backyard when you're playing like 5-on-5, and you're in the dirt. You're like,
in the backyard.
Here, you're probably right. I mean, that was
all-time stupid play.
Yikes! But at least he's back in a Dallas uniform, and that won't be his last play, which is probably a good thing for everybody. All right, Mike. So programming note: we're going to go past 12 o'clock a little bit, not a lot.
Yeah,
and
I
no
want to get
overtime
this last
today.
segment in, so we're going to extend the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Real quick before we do that. I've known Nick for a little while now.
Yeah.
Talk about, he works for the Cowboys.
Sure.
Like
he's state media.
He is as
honest.
open and pretty transparent in terms of
usually
state media as you get. He is not just
usually state
pushing
media
the
people
company
give you
agenda.
no.
He said they got their ass kicked in Green Bay. Of course, there's no other way to call that. That's exactly what happened. But, for a guy that's working for state-run media in the building right now with Mike McCarthy walking by, that's we appreciate
I usually
the
ignore
transparency.
state-run media, but no, he was good.
McNuggets, I got 2 seconds. 2 seconds.
Yeah, of course.
Listen, shout out to everybody out there. Listen, we doing another giveaway, by the way, man. Hit me up at GBush91. Put in the title word Cowboys. We giving out 5 Kool-Aid Mafia rags, 5 Kool-Aid Mafia towels. We will announce those winners right here on Friday.
Them?
I could sign them if
they
y'all want to. So it's totally free. All you got to do is hit me up, GBush91, put Cowboys in there. I'll put 5 random people, and we'll announce those people on the show on Friday. Get you guys ready to get rallied up for this season.
All right, Mike, let's get to it.
We're going to do Super Chats and then the bets. I want to make sure the Super Chats get in. First Super Chat comes from our Mac Dog. He says, expecting an ugly offensive game for both teams, but I expect the Browns to beat the Cowgirls by at least a field goal. I'm drinking the G-Bush Kool-Aid for my season prediction. I'm going 12-5, win the division, and Miles earns Super Bowl MVP.
12-5.
They are a 2.5-point favorite still, right? Has that changed?
Yep, as of like 3 minutes ago.
Remember,
still
the
2.5
Oilers have won this division more recently than the Browns. Isn't that crazy?
What was that, 95?
Oh, my God.
I don't remember
88,
the
I
exact
think.
year.
Was it 88?
Yeah, I think it's been 88 since they won.
Yeah.
Our guy Daryl says, "Welcome Dustin to the UCSS family. What an addition to Bull GJ, Tyvus, Jason. Love you guys." So shout out Daryl,
Thanks,
appreciate
Daryl.
you. And the world's fastest fat man says, "Never forget Micah Parsons insulting David Njoku in Cleveland. Let's go Browns. Beat the boys. Also,
Yeah.
not sure what's louder, Bull screaming for Dak or G's outfit."
Hey, the Canadian tuxedo.
Right
I
there, man.
want to challenge him for the world's
Hey,
fastest
it's hard
fat
to get this,
man,
man.
award.
Listen, this is that Dolly Parton collection.
All right,
All right, let's get to it, man, Mike.
real quick. Also,
Extra room in the chest.
Last note, I did an Ultimate Cavs show with Tim Alcorn, the radio voice of the Cavs. It's on our YouTube page. If you want to go check it out, you go check it out. Now we're going to get into some season-long Browns bets that FanDuel has posted on their sportsbook. You can find them. These are real. These are not UCSS generated. These are legitimate bets that you can place money on today, responsibly, of course, and win some money, hopefully. So we're going to run through a couple season-long Browns bets. You guys tell me if you like the bet and if you'd place a few bucks on it based on the odds that FanDuel has provided. Are you ready?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Let's start. Myles Garrett to record 15 sacks in the regular season, plus 170. So you're getting plus money on this. 15 sacks for Myles Garrett.
I'm in.
I'm in, even though he didn't get it last year.
No.
But I'm going to predict a better season for him, which we did yesterday, so I'm in.
Sign me up. It's only one more than he had last year. Traditionally, he's always in that 14 to 16 range. I'm gonna go with that.
You
It's
bet
not,
that?
it's not quite juicy enough for me at the plus 170. I mean, if I was like plus 250, I'd consider it. I don't like those odds. I'll take the under 50.
He's out.
All right.
3 ins, 1 out.
How much money do I? So if I put $100 on it,
You
how
win
much?
170.
270 comes back. You win 170.
Now
You
we're
get your stake
recording
back.
these, right?
Okay,
So
okay.
at the end of the season, when
We'll
we're
go
on a
back.
slow
Yeah.
day, we can go back and say, remember when?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so 3 in, Dustin's out. Second one, Deshaun Watson to score 5 or more rushing touchdowns in the regular season.
I love that bet.
I'll take that.
I love
Plus
that bet.
380.
Great, good value.
Yeah,
and
great
like,
value.
I mean, just think about it. You get down to the 1 yard line, a quarterback sneak. It could happen
3,
twice,
4
What are
times
they
by
gonna do?
accident.
times, maybe by accident.
Are they going to be careful with him quarterback sneaking with the shoulder injury and all the injuries he's had?
But here's the thing. I mean, it's such a successful play, like percentages wise.
Sure.
Like that you if you're a
And
quarterback,
he can run. They might not all be 4th and goal or 3rd and goal from the
true.
ones. They might be 14-yard
it could be a
runs.
scramble. You
Yeah.
know? It could be a speed on. Who knows what it could be?
How many score last year? 1?
Could be quarterback power. Shoot.
He scored one against Cincinnati. Did he score another one on the
I don't
ground?
remember. I think he just had the 1. But he only played.
Let's see. According to
A
Pro
handful of
Football
games.
Reference, last year he rushed for 1 touchdown. Yeah, that week 1
Yeah.
against Cincinnati.
I
He's
mean-
never. He's had 5 twice in his career.
Yeah, but if the dude can stay healthy for 17 games or even 15 games, then
And
there's
to
a
your
good
point,
chance
the
he's getting
value is
5.
there.
The value is there, but I'm out. I don't think he's going to do it.
Almost
I
4
think
to 1 odds.
I wouldn't be surprised if they use Jameis to do the quarterback sneaks.
Stop.
No, it's
They've done that in the past
not
with other quarterbacks.
Yeah, it is a very, very good idea.
No.
I actually don't hate that idea.
Yeah. He's big. He's bigger
He's
than
like Ben
Deshaun.
Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
He's so big. I mean,
Yeah.
and Andy, you know, you don't have to worry about him hurting his shoulder.
They'll find it.
If he gets hurt, next.
Are you in or out?
On this one?
Yeah.
Of course.
Now,
All
I'm
right, just
taking the bet. I don't think he'll get there, but I'm taking the bet just
Yeah.
because of the value.
I think.
All right.
I love long shots.
I got him.
Fair
for
enough.
425 yards rushing this year.
Okay. 3 in, 1 out, Mike.
If you like that value, you may love this one. Amari Cooper's career high in receiving touchdowns is 9. If you think he'll break that and score 10 this season, you get 5 to 1 odds. Would you take it?
Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
At 5 to 1, I'd consider it. But I don't.
10's
I don't
a big
think so.
number, man.
I'm out.
5 to 1. Give me the 5 to 1.
Oh,
Come on,
oh,
bank
oh.
it. Get out the Benjamin and give me 500.
He's
Well,
the guy
back.
that hits when he's sitting on 19.
That's right.
No.
Give me the ace, baby.
I'm not the guy who's hitting on that, dude. But I'm splitting my 8s against a king. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, we'll go with that.
That number sounds so big
10?
for him.
10.
And the reason I say no is we've got more receiving help. Judy,
But Deshaun has shown that he loves Amari. And
He does love him. Well, you know
if
what,
those
though?
dudes are on the same
Spoon-fed.
page.
not really. I mean, he loves him, but he had his best game ever with Joe Flacco.
That is fair.
And Flacco's gone.
I'm going to go ahead and take this because obviously I've been asking for 4,500. So with that 4,500.
And how many tutties you got? 50?
No. That's steep. 34, 35.
Who was it? Pro Football Focus or somebody said Deshaun was going to have 45 overall touchdowns this year.
Deshaun Watson?
Yes.
Well, then we're going to a deep playoff run.
So 35. I don't even got him with that. I got him like 39. 35 touchdowns.
And you set the bar on the highs for all of his numbers.
That's
39 is
Did anybody have, how many people had 39 touchdowns last year?
It's not 1986.
It's 4 rushing. 4 rushing and 35.
35. I don't think anybody threw 35 touchdowns.
What is that, 2 touchdowns a game?
Josh Allen last year.
Okay.
Was that 2 touchdowns?
Josh Allen threw 29 last year and then rushed.
Right, but G's got Watson throwing 35 touchdowns. Nobody threw 35 last year.
Yeah, Dak threw 36.
Oh, Dak, okay.
He's the only one.
Yeah.
All right, next.
I'm 44, you're right.
Next.
All right, Denzel Ward. 5 interceptions this season. If you take that bet, 7 to 1 odds.
No chance.
No.
Not taking
I don't even know he's going to play 5 games.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I know that he said he's not
trying to be
concerned
negative,
about the
but
concussions, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, you're getting into the territory now
yeah.
where his next concussion, he's having serious conversations with doctors that you never want to have conversations
He should be, but we don't know that he will. Who knows? But
I mean, they're not going to let him continue to play if he keeps getting
no, at some
concussions.
point it won't be his decision.
It won't be his call.
No, it's terrible, and I hate it for him because he plays the game at 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
And he loves it so much, and we love him so much. But I'm holding my breath.
I'm out. You in?
I'm out.
Even
5
G's
picks
out.
is hard to get anyway.
4 outs.
Out. I'm out.
All right, we're going from individual to team bets, and these ones, the odds are way juicier.
Okay.
16 to 1 for the Browns to make at least 1 field goal in every regular season game.
No. 17 games.
I'd bet. I mean, it's 6 plus 1,600. I might as well. I mean, that's not impossible. I'd bet that one.
I threw $10 on this. I'm not
Yeah, I
gonna
threw
lie.
$10.
Did you really?
I threw $10 on it.
If you say $10, how much I win? If would I get?
160.
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't. I don't. There's so many things that have to happen.
Right. But
so many. How many games did they kick field goals in last year?
Let me pull up the schedule. It's a good question. I probably should have done that beforehand.
That's a terrible job out of you, Mike.
That is a bad job. Listen, without Earl this week, we've been running around going crazy.
Where is Earl, by the way? I know he's on vacation.
On vacation.
Where though?
Just in Cleveland. Taking a
Staycation.
little
He showed up for the
mental
fantasy
break.
draft yesterday.
Okay.
They kicked a field goal against Cincinnati. They kicked a field goal against.
Don't go through it week by week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's gonna
Never
take
mind.
forever.
I thought you might know.
I got it.
Yeah. Forget it. Doesn't. I'm in. Who's you're out? You're out.
Wait, they were shut out, weren't they? Were they shut out last
I
year?
don't think so.
Do they got to make one or they got to kick?
They
gotta
got to make a field goal
I'm
in every
cool.
game.
I'm straight.
I love the odds, but
Out. You out or in?
I'm out.
All right. I'm in. They're out.
I might put it in a parlay and put 20 on the parlay. Though.
There you go.
Dustin Hopkins made a field goal in every game he played last year, but he missed 3. So.
Okay.
Okay. He missed 3 games.
All right, next one.
Yeah.
32 to 1 odds. Super juicy. The Browns to score 1 passing touchdown in every game this season.
I'll throw money on that.
I'm out on that.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
I got to. I mean,
It's nice payday.
It's great odds.
I've already been, I've been cuffed to this. If I say 35 touchdowns, they got to get 2
That's
a game.
2 a game.
So, yeah, I got to say this one. Yeah, give me that one.
All right. 2 and 2.
Remember that number, 32 to 1 for passing.
Yeah.
Remember that number.
Yeah.
Next up, the AFC North Gauntlet. We've talked about it time and time again. For the Browns to go undefeated against AFC North opponents.
Not touching that.
48 to 1.
Not a chance.
Nope.
Nope.
I mean, that's not. If you go to bet $10, it's not bad. I mean, because it's not. That's not insane. It's possible. It's
You want to have
unlikely.
more fun? Get going 100 miles an hour, roll down your window, take a $10 bill, and throw it out the window.
No, I don't think it's
You'd have
that.
more fun watching that.
I don't think it's that.
The reason I think it's so bad, even if they was 5-0, chances are if they had the division or something clinched, they wouldn't play the last game of the season.
That's possible.
See, here's the thing.
And one of those
How
AFC
many
North
times
teams
has that
will play
happened?
hard.
Period.
No, I hear
and
you.
you're talking about this is the toughest division in
I'm
football.
not arguing with you. I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just saying it. I don't think it's an impossible bet.
Chances of it happening.
I'm out.
Under 5%?
Yes.
Oh yeah, way under.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's certainly possible. It's not in I mean, okay, if it was 100 to 1, I'd probably throw $10 on it.
Yeah, there you go.
know.
Yeah, why not?
I like
whatever.
money.
I mean, it's really good odds. It's just not unlikely. That's why the odds are so long.
Sure.
There you go. Go ahead.
I'm trying to find the last time an AFC North team went undefeated in the division. Do you know what year it was?
Did the Steelers do it?
It is the Steelers.
And I wouldn't know the year, but I do remember the Steelers
17.
doing it. Okay, 17.
That was the year they went 13 and 3.
By the way, the division wasn't nearly as good as it is now.
That was the year the Browns went 0-16.
Yeah, the Bengals were bad that year too, weren't
Yeah.
they?
Bengals were 7-9. Yeah.
So,
That don't count.
This is a tough division, man.
Last one. It was 32-1 odds for a passing touchdown every game. Could I interest you in 95-1 odds in at least one rushing touchdown every game? Doesn't have to be a running back. It could be any player. 95-1 that they'll score a rushing touchdown.
How many rushing touchdowns did they have as a team last year?
Not a ton.
I know.
Not good.
I mean, if Nick Chubb were here for the whole season, I'd think about it, but he's
and
not.
even Chubb is
I'd
not
like
a
10
great
bucks on
fantasy
that.
back.
You'd put
They
10 on
had
it.
15 total rushing touchdowns last year.
I'm a
Kareem
hard
Hunt
no.
had 9 of them.
Yeah, I'm a hard no.
Yeah, but
So,
a lot of those games probably had multiple rushing
players,
touchdowns.
and how many did Chubb have?
Nick Chubb had 0.
Okay, so returning players accounted for 6 touchdowns on the ground last year for the Browns.
Yeah, 1 for Deshaun, 1 for Pierre Strong, and 4 for Jerome Ford.
Like you'd like that a lot better if you knew Chubb was playing. Week
I would consider it.
Hey, Jerome.
Yeah, but the odds
For
wouldn't be
fun,
It
I would
wouldn't be
take-
95 to 1.
No,
if
they'd
Chubb
be
was
like
healthy.
45 to 1.
You know, Jerome Ford was second in touchdown receptions behind Christian McCaffrey.
Right, but it wouldn't help that bet.
Yeah, it don't
No,
help
it's
that.
got
Yeah.
it's running touchdowns.
He's out of here.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch that.
Nope, can't do it.
Is that
That's
it, Mike?
Those are the FanDuel
That's
bets.
it, that's
Those are
all?
the 8 FanDuel bets that are currently on the sportsbook, on the app. You can find them. It is America's undisputed #1 sportsbook.
All right. Do you want to tease what's on the show tomorrow?
You didn't give any odds on the Browns winning the division. Oh,
I thought for sure you'd have a Super Bowl or
Yeah,
a
or
division.
We're
bowl.
saving those
For later.
We're going to get to
Gotcha.
those. Don't worry.
Okay.
Those are just the season. They did, I think they call them season specials.
Right.
Yeah.
Those were the 8 season specials
Got it.
for the
Yeah.
Browns.
What's on the program tomorrow?
We have 3 guests tomorrow.
Okay.
Didi Kinkawala, who
Love Aditi.
has a brand new laptop
thankfully.
Oh,
sent to
yes.
her from CBS. We did a speed test this morning with Aditi. You ready for this?
Yeah.
True story. Her new laptop is running at a speed 26.3 times faster than her old laptop. So the
So
days of
she's
Aditi,
going to look crystal clear, sharp, no more max headroom.
Anthony with my witness, as my witness. And here's Anthony. Tested it this morning, crystal clear, audio was perfect.
Love
If
it.
it doesn't work tomorrow, she is just cursed.
Shout out to CBS.
We have Bernie in studio tomorrow.
Okay.
We have Clarence Hill coming on to help
Clarence
preview
Hill,
Cowboys.
no
the
kidding.
Cowboys
Yeah.
game. Clarence Hill will say some wild shit. I love Clarence. He is
That's awesome. We love wild shit.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a fun interview. And another thing we're going to do tomorrow is a little teaser. Look at how the AFC North finished last year. Mm-hmm. And we're going to figure out which team's going to have the biggest variance in wins from 23 to 24.
Okay.
Some up, some down. And we're giving some bold predictions.
Love
Your
it.
Spiciest takes. That's all.
Love
coming up
it.
tomorrow.
All right, Mike.
on
If
the
you miss
Ultimate
that,
Proven Sports
you
Show.
can't call yourself a Browns fan.
That's probably true.
That's the way I look at it.
Jed Wills, last thing, just spoke. Says he will not be starting Sunday against the Cowboys.
Oh, great.
That is according to Chris Easterling of the Akron Beacon Journal.
But he could start next week.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't know players announced that before coaches though.
That's weird. Kevin
Like, usually-
Stefanski 2 hours ago says he could play. 2 hours later, Jed saying he's not
We
playing.
say he's not starting, Bull.
Oh, it's true. He's not starting.
And Kevin didn't say he was going to start.
Hey,
That's true.
Dustin, I
Fair.
like that.
Good
He,
point.
yeah,
And
that
could
was
be, you
that
know,
was
they could-
thinly veiled.
They could put Conklin there and take a look at it. And
Yeah.
after 3 series, they can say, that ain't it. Jed, get your
right.
fat rear end out there and
Hey.
play left.
Are they going to get that? Is he going to wear that when he wears that ridiculous mask on his head? I mean, how embarrassing is it for an offense? That picture we always show.
Yeah, no.
For an offensive lineman to wear the head condom is flat out embarrassing.
It's not pretty.
It's not pretty, but it's very smart.
Come on. He's an offensive lineman.
Those guys have more.
More head-to-head contact than any of
concussions
those
than
positions.
No, but is it? No. I'm not talking about the poofy helmet.
Oh, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
I'll
Mike,
show you,
show that
the
picture.
picture. I know what you're talking
It's the
about.
picture we always show. It's like where the baseball players wear that thing on their head.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
to protect them from the cold.
Yeah.
It's the
I mean, that's
It's
so.
a taker.
Yeah,
that
no.
is so soft
he
for an
won't be
offensive
wearing
lineman.
that. It's only going to be 68.
Yeah, but like, I mean, what offensive lineman? I mean, he looks like Shrek.
What's
I mean,
this
come
guy?
on.
Is he a Navy SEAL?
It does look bad. I mean, it's just not a good look at all. And notice there's no fans behind it. Well, you know what I like? The steam coming off of it.
That's right.
That's
It looks
great.
old school.
The
We,
internet
last
is
thing,
undefeated.
We use USA Today. It's our picture service
For
to get all the
images.
montages.
Yeah.
Either they have a vendetta against Jed Wills.
Why, is
or
that the only
some-
thing they have of him?
They have 4 pictures, and they're all bad. Like,
Really?
there's not a single redeeming picture of Jed Wills.
Can we rip through
in
them
the-
real quick?
Take the montage. I mean,
Let's see what we have. That's
awful.
Shrek.
Not
You're
the
right.
Shrek picture.
Yeah.
that's more of a Deshaun picture, but he's at least
Yeah.
tagged in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't. He don't
By the
got.
way, he started 4 years in the NFL.
I mean, that's not that bad.
That's
What's wrong
fine.
with that one? That's terrible.
Yeah, that's that.
He definitely only has. He has under 10 photos.
That's a bad one.
That one looks like he just
Yeah.
got his rear end kicked.
Like,
Oh, not again.
It's all
Holding
bad.
71.
He's a 4-year starter in the NFL. You'd think
Yeah,
they'd
you'd
have
think
more
they'd
than
be better.
5 pictures of him.
Yeah,
We'll
do
see you
better.
tomorrow.
Do better, USA Today. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Peace.
peace.